empty hearts and neon lights. They're playing with my mind. Gotta get out of here tonight. Oh, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started out. Get me out of now, to where we started out. Get me out of now, to where we started out. La 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 la, oh, oh. Get me out of broken hearts and starting fights, turning truth to lies. Gotta get up, stop wasting time. Yeah, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started out. Get me out of now, to where we started out. Get me out of now, to where we started out. Oh no,
Hello everybody, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Kitech Arena for the part number 2 of the World Grand Prix. It is once again Zhang against Zhao for the battle of the best here at the Player Series. As now we approach the middle points of the match, and it is now nothing to separate the two players after barely a gap of more than a frame there in the opening session. it is now Zhang Anda 4, Zhao Xington 4, and it all comes back to square one for the two players from China, looking to be the second ranking event title in his career for Zhang Anda after an incredible performance in the 2023 International Championship, also in China. He's been into the final of the English Open Players' Championship, and yet here he is, once again looking to become very much the man to beat and be another new rank event winner, as he now enters the arena and his opponent, the Cyclone, the world number 8, the unbeaten last year at the Crucible, certainly struggling for form coming into this tournament, but now he seems to be in full flow, defeating some of the best players on the tour, and it is now welcoming Zhao Xington to the Kitech Arena. The world champion has entered the building. Is he going to be the World Grand Prix champion as well? We'll have to find out in a couple of hours' time, but he certainly managed to have some emphatic breaks already being performed at this arena. As you can see, certainly all the issues with the crowd are going to be sorted because it is going to be packed now, and why shouldn't it be? We've got the entertainment, we've got the fans, we've got the players, we've got the setup. Let's play some snooker, everybody. And it is now first to 10, Zhao Xington 4, Zhang Anda 4, frame 9, about to begin. Now, as we approach the arena, and you can see the handshake once again in between the players, it is going to be Zhang Anda to break and get us underway. Just double checking with the referee that it is going to be his turn. And he wasn't practicing for nothing. Once again, as he always does, doing it from the left-hand side. Well, probably an issue for him at the opening couple of frames, where Zhao Xington always trying to go for those reds. That seems to have been living on at the opening part of the frames, and now this time around he's certainly not going to be able to do that. Brilliant shot there to cover up the right part of the table, not so much with the left hand side though, so Zhao Xington will be having a very close look at the red that he can try and pot into the left corner. So we'll have to wait and see on how this red will disappear, but certainly, as I say, I mean, this has got the setup that we've been dreaming about, and the first red is not going to be made there by Zhao Xington, so it's not quite the perfect start for him, although he has managed to get the cue ball into a somewhat safe position. So yeah, just looking to see the way the reds are going to finish, and all of them basically bunching up by the right corner of the table. So it's going to be interesting to see the response from Zhang Anda, because even though he has got a long red available into the right corner, it's probably not going to be the way for him to try and get this red into the right corner. And open for them to push forward. Who will prevail? Anyone? Yeah, as I say, I mean, I'm surprised that Zhao Xington is dominating the poll by 78%. I know he's the favourite, but still, especially after the opening 8 frames, there's been nothing to separate the two players. And now it is Zhang Anda that will have a good chance of his own to try and get on the score sheet here in frame number 9. Trying to get that red into the right corner. Needs to cue this one nicely and didn't. Ooh, the cue ball is going to be pushed back by the red, and red is going to be fluked there. Incredible stuff straight away. And that's the way to get yourself started. The cannon from the red onto the cue ball nearly fluked the cue ball onto the right middle, and in the end, the red has gone all the way and dropped into the yellow pocket. So, well, you can say that he meant that. Nobody will believe him, but certainly not going to care about this one. At this stage, it is the blue available into the right middle, and Zhang Anda is going to be able to get a first chance here. A bit of good fortune there for his own, but I'd probably say he deserves it after a couple of misfortune that we've seen of him in the opening couple of frames, where, he was playing the similar shot off the blue, trying to send the cue ball down the table. In the end, managed to pot the red alongside the blue, so didn't quite work out for him on that stage. But now, certainly getting the better of the luck here on the snooker table. So then just trying to get this red into the right corner. So he was intentionally playing that cue ball to be to the top part of the table. So just leaving himself to be in there with a chance. Got a cannon of the reds. Now needs the cue ball to bounce away from the ball cushion. Has he managed to do it? It looks like he has. And he's going to be lined up nicely on the ball colours, as well as he's going to have lots of reds waiting for him at the lower part of the table. And anyone's game, see your mate's error, and who'll grab opportunity when he comes. Yes, true. Certainly true about that one. So for now it is Zhang Anda grabbing the opportunity. Yes, you could say it was a fluke. But ultimately, as I say, snooker is sometimes down to the finest margins. And when you've got luck on your side, you can't just say, I'm not going to use it. You need to make sure you take this opportunity now if you are Zhang Anda. And he's going to be trying to do everything that he can to keep the cue ball on this red and taking them into the left middle. And the fluke red could win frame number 9. Yes, he can, but Doesn't mean that he will. Especially if you look at the first couple of frames in the first session, you know, they have been struggling to try and get themselves on the board very early from the first opportunity when they come across to the table. But this is going to be a real nice chance now for Zhang to try and do something about it. So the black to be taken into the right corner, and you need the cue ball to bounce away, get another couple of reds out of the way, and get himself set up for the right corner to be taken red towards. As I say, the previous shot that he played from the red contact into the right corner, straight after playing the first color of the blue, he did manage to separate a couple of those reds away from each other. So now with the cue ball, just has to try and preserve his lead, control the position, and he certainly should be able to get a good break out of this situation now that he finds himself with. You know, he scored 18 points, which of course is going to be compromised by the fact that he had to use bold colors on a couple of those occasions. Now then he takes the black once again. He had 4 reds eliminated already. He's got 11 of them, bunched up quite closely together, but as I say, he should be able to just take them out one by one, and then all of a sudden, I feel like there's not going to be 11 reds available at that point. So he's thinking about what he should be thinking about, trying to maybe get the pink into play as well, because it may be the best color for him to try and get that cue ball on every single time he tries to play away from those reds. And yeah, he's tried to play for the blue, but I have to say it's gone really wrong for him. And he's gone wrong quite badly there, because it's very straight on the blue. He's just about on the wrong side of it. So I have a feeling that, you know, unless he's going to be able to find one of those reds into the left corner, he's going to have to try and do something about it. Yeah, play this shot with a bit of topspin there on the cue ball, and get yourself lined up with a side cushion shot. He's tried to find some of the angle and getting that cue ball down the table. I feel like he's overrun it. And yeah, he's just surprised himself there with how much cue power he managed to find. So then a plant into the left middle is going to be available for him. But I'm not sure if he's going to be the shot for him to be taking on here. As I say, a bit of distance in between the two reds. So let's have a little look how this one is actually going to pan out. And yeah, understandably so. I feel like he's just going to be trying to get the cue ball away from the danger zone, away from the reds, and get it very much close to the ball cushion there. So in behind the yellow it goes. As I say, it's a 31 points of a lead, but it's still going to be nicer than, you know, losing out on the opening frame, although it has come from a fluke. So Zhang will be disappointed that despite having good fortune to himself, he's not going to be able to sort of use it to full extent and get himself lined up with an early frame win. Remember that the opening 8 frames have only taken us less than 3 hours to get through, and that's including all the sort of mid-frame intervals and the intermission of 15 minutes as well. For now, it's a really thin cut that Zhao needs to try and make, getting that cue ball to be sent towards the yellow pocket, catching the yellow in progress. That might leave another chance here to Zhang from Malaysia. Yeah, same time as in China then, because it is going to be evening session starting at 7 o'clock in China. But I have to say, it's really refreshing to see the crowd finally turning up to the numbers with, you know, exploiting all the chances of Kitech Arena. Now, let's see if Zhang is going to be able to exploit his chance. Try and take the red into the left corner. Ooh, just about misses out. Now, the cue ball needs to run back there for Zhang's sake. And he's able to do so there. So, nice shot there, because even though he probably would have been out of position on the ball colours, at least he doesn't give away anything easy there to Zhao Xington. And you still feel like the opening chance is going to be super important for whoever gets on it, because, you know, despite that 31 points of a lead, it's not like Zhang has got a lot of reds on the side cushions, which is going to put these frames somewhat safe there for him. So once again, just a thin contact on the red and getting that cue ball to the top part of the table. The line is good. Just wanted to be slightly closer to the yellow, and in the end, as close as it was, probably not going to do an awful lot of damage there to Zhang. And yeah, gets himself back into the game there, Zhao Xington. So interestingly enough there, I feel like he's left the red potentially to be taken into the left corner with a very thin cut, but also it's not even the red that you have to concentrate, it's the position of the cue ball, trying to make sure you don't catch the backside of the red next to the black, and just try and get it past all the danger area and get it to the top part of the table. Pushes the black towards the right corner there, Zhang. But I feel like he's managed to do a reasonable job of trying to get those reds. But I mean, I say that without looking at the plans, because of course the camera It's not always going to tell you the exact story, because it does seem like there is one looking towards the left corner, so that's exactly what Zhao Xington is having a look at. So yeah, let's have a look about it. Now then, if you're going to try and hit the red on the right part of the table, well, you can try and get it, but once again, it's going to be down to the cue ball. And look at that, what a perfect shot that is from Zhao Xington. Just needs a bit of luck to find himself on the ball colors, but that was an absolute beauty of a red. And what did I say? It is anyone's game for the taking when you get a chance. And now Zhao Xington just needs to try, get himself down the table, and we could be in for a cracker. If the frame number 9 starts like that, you can only imagine what's going to be happening on the frame number 14 on something, which we are guaranteed to witness. And let's be real here, I feel like if it's not going to be anything above 16 frames, we are going to be pretty disappointed with the way, from the neutrals point of view, that the second session has gone. And then Zhao Xington seems to have a long look at the brown, so maybe just not feeling entirely happy with the way. He's going to have to try and play this shot with the backspin. Of course, he has to be aware of the fact that the blue has gone onto the side cushion, and maybe just being in the way there of trying to send the white down the table there across the right side of it. Yeah, he's thinking about maybe switching for option B, which is going to have to be green taken. But I feel like that's not really going to help his cause there. Trying to get past the blue. Needs to try and make sure he does it before the jaws of the middle pocket. And this could be a tricky shot there. It looked like he managed to get a real nice shot. And of course he was looking at the black as well, which is quite close to the pocket. Now in the end he's gone for the green. Let's see where the cue ball's going to finish. Beautiful bounce there off 2 cushions. And he's going to be perfectly lined up on the red into the left corner. And France, 12-15 there. So as I say, mainland Europe an hour ahead of us. So yeah, 1 red is all it takes there for Zhao Xington to stand a chance. Because look at the position there that he's got ahead of himself. Yes, he's got the blue out of position. Yes, he's got the yellow very much on the ball cushion. But he doesn't need any of those two. As long as he can stay on his favourable spots on the snooker table, he's going to be able to score some great points on the black, using the pink if he needs it. And you never quite know. This still could be a mighty steal there from Zhao Xington's point of view, as he now tries to get himself back in contention for this frame. Just trying to think there, because he's 31 points down, and he's got 91 points on the table, so he definitely won't need the blue. Whether he'll need the yellow or not can be another point for discussion, but I feel like he should be able to be more than 27 points clear by the point that he clears up all of these reds. Barring that, of course, it is going to be taken with the expensive colours there, the likes of pink and the black. Very much available here to Zhao. And he can try and take this black now into the left corner, pushing the cue ball very much away from the cushion. Getting himself lined up on a couple of those reds to be taken into the right corner. I feel like he's managed to play a real nice shot there, because he just got 2 reds to be away from each other, getting him a free red basically to be taken into the right corner as well. And if he just manages to get the black into the left corner, then the red into the right, he could try and get himself some valuable points there, whilst eliminating majority of those 6 remaining reds here that he's got ahead of himself. Now just try and push 1 more red there into the main bunch. It feels like he could have done without the cue ball sticking to the rest of the reds. And he's still going to have the ability to try and push that cue ball forward onto the red into the right corner, but could have been with a bit of more room for freedom there, because he may have to try and well, push the black ball onto the black ball cushion. That's exactly what he's done, but he's fine here. He should be straight, which is not really going to help his chances, but it should be good enough for him to try and get a lot of spin on the cue ball and onto the side once again. Bring it closer to the reds, and yeah, played really nicely there. Good job. Now got a couple of options once again there, Zhao Xington. He's got red available into the left corner, but also the one that he can try and take into the left middle. I feel like the one into the left middle is going to go nicely with the pink. And yeah, you can see now he's 6 points clear without taking the black. So he's going to be comfortably clear for this frame when he comes to just well, having the ability to try and clear all of those reds. In the end, just once again giving a little nudge to the position. Could have gone wrong with the cue ball sticking to the pink, but in the end it just creates a bit of a breathing space, which is going to be enough there for Zhao to try and take that red into the corner. Get himself set up back for the black there. Zhao needs to put this frame to bed now to show he means business. Yes, he does, and he certainly managed to do it at the end of the first session there. managing the breaks of 130, 145. And in the end, it was super impressive for Zhang to try and perform that break of 84 points to close off the first session with 4 incredibly high-value breaks. Once again, Zhang just not quite able to get himself into the rhythm of making centuries for fun, but as I said, has to try and focus on having the ability to try kill frames off there, which is something that he hasn't done here. And that's exactly the reason why you see Zhao accumulating all of these points and being within 1 shot away after this raid that he takes nicely into the right corner of making it a 5-4 advantage. And of course, it's going to be a bit of a bad start there for Zhang, and which is why it was super important for him to win that frame number 8. Because if he doesn't do it, all of a sudden he could have been 6-3 down and would have been a very different scoreline and a story in the entire final. As you can see, the black is taken there for Zhao, so he's off to a great start there. Once again, making no mistakes when it matters, and the break of 69 points and counting is still going to be a very healthy break there for him. So technically, of course, could still make another century break, make it 3 out of the last 3 frames that he's won. Make it 3 out of the last 4 frames overall. Now just needs the cue ball to slow down for the yellow, play the shot beautifully there. So realistically, in between himself and the century break, he only has got that blue that has spent the entire frame time being sat on the side cushion. So may have the ability to try and get the blue away from the side cushion right now, but decides to hesitate. So leave himself with a bit of anger on the brown, and yeah, try and push that cue ball closer to the side cushion there. So a break of 81 points is still going to be very much solid for him to try and get the second session underway. And unfortunately for him, well, I mean, I say unfortunately, he did manage to get one of those difficult pinks there on the previous session. Let's see if he's going to be able to try and do a similar sort of thing with the blue. It's close. It's really close, but in the end, it can't quite get close enough. And unfortunately, it is not going to be a century break, but it's still an incredible break there from Zhao that seems to be calm as ever. But he now leads Zhang by 5 frames to 4, and he's off to a fantastic start there of his own. Zhang will be disappointed. He had the early opportunity after a fluke, which has massively influenced the start of that break. In the end, only managed to score 31 points, and he clearly wasn't enough to beat the formidable Zhao that moves even closer to getting the 4th ranking event title. Of course, I've mentioned the Zhang CV on his wins. Well, the win at the International Championship and the finals that he's made at the English Open and at the Players' Championship in 2023. So very much probably has to be counted as a prime year of Zhang, reaching 3 ranking event finals, winning one of them, probably one of the biggest ones as well, of the International Championship, not just for the format, but also for the prize money and ranking points, which is why he's dropped down the rankings quite significantly there, because of course it doesn't have the ranking points of 2 seasons ago now, which would have been wiped out as well, as soon as those tournaments would have been played there in 2025. So that explains the drop off to 23 World C there. But if you talk about Zhao, the world number 8, obviously known for the incredible campaign at the World Championship last year, but has got a bit of background before that. You know, he's managed to win the UK Championship incredibly in 2021. And, well, he's 2/3 of the way now to try and complete the Triple Crown set, alongside the likes of Sean Murphy, Jot Trump and Neil Robertson doing those at the latest of the players, and Karen Wilson, of course, as well, after his Masters triumph in 2026, managing to be 2/3 of the way there, missing the UK Championship crown, and Zhao himself missing the Masters crown to complete the set. But if you talk about the ranking events, you know, German Masters win in 2022, incredible performance at that time, still decent appearance in the Crucible, defeating Jamie Clark and losing out to Stephen Maguire for his first ever appearance in Sheffield. Certainly was quite impressive there. And in the end, you know, still winning the likes of UK Championship and the World Championship. Doesn't really get better than that, as he now tries to get a 4th ranking event on the board. This time around, it is going to be his break-off. Let's see if he gets that cue ball anywhere near the ball cushion, because he probably has to at this stage. You know, I think the messing around has to be over. And it's a fantastic bonus when you make centuries of 145 points and basically the highest break of the entire tournament. But you need to be all about business, and you need to make sure you get one chance, you're clinical with it, and you get it away with a break of very similar to the one that we've seen in the previous frame. A break off probably not so much, with the red being quite close to being possible into the left middle. I feel like Zhang is going to be all over this one. Good show, Zhao, first red, and the green got his break going. Many others would put brown or black. Yes, true. That was a good thinking there from him, because you have to say it was super easy for you to just try and say, yeah, it's 50-50, I'll go for the brown. Maybe I'll touch the blue, maybe I won't. You know, he thought about it long and hard, and in the end he was able to get that red with a green combination. Zhang though, with a mistake. Let's see where the cue ball's going to finish. And it looks like it's just about got lucky with that one. Missing out on the red into the left middle, which Zhao has left him after a break-off shot. Let's see if he's going to have the ability to try and cut the same red there, Zhao. Because the cue ball has gone basically over the yellow pocket. So we've got the cover on the long shot into the right corner there. The black is covered up as well, which needs to be studied there by Zhao. And he feels like he's got that frame advantage. He doesn't need to be taking any risks. And just pushes the cue ball to be alongside the blue ball line. Well, he has left a red to Zhang there into the right corner. But, of course, leaving that cue ball to be on the side cushion. You have to be really confident in your skills to try and get that red in, especially without the black. Having the necessity to try and play for the blue in the middle part of the table. Prix to now still open to his... Yes, I mean, that is probably been one of the weakest points for both of the players. As Zhang there tries to play an aggressive shot, but in the end probably doing more damage to himself. And Zhao there trying to get the black to be freed of captivity of the two reds. And in the end just pushing it closer to the black ball cushion. So Zhao now having a look at the right part of the majority of those reds. Maybe he's going to try and find a plan there, but ultimately concentrate on bringing the cue ball up the table, using the side cushion in progress with a loads of spin there that he added. In the end, judging the power pretty well. Not quite perfectly on the ball cushion, but at least well clear of the D-line there. Zhang is going to let the referee have a look at this one as well. I feel like he has got the opportunity to try and cross-double one of those two reds onto the left side cushion, but it's not really going to be a guarantee thing for him to happen. So now you just need to try and send that cue ball with a minor contact to one of those reds to the lower part of the table. In the end, he has got the ability to cross-double, nearly getting a red as well, into the right corner. Now, has he got the position on the cue ball? It looks like he has. And Zhao could see that one a mile away, ready to acknowledge the line that Zhang has taken way before the cue ball has even crossed the bulk line. So be heading to the top part of the table. And yeah, Phil, thank you very much for everyone tuning in, by the way. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. We still have the best of the action to come. The World Open, the Welsh Open, the Tour Championship, the Players Championship ahead of the icing on the cake, the Crucible. And now, watching the king of the Crucible last year, that is the brilliant timing for him, because once again, a terrific long pot into the left corner, and now he's going to be back with a charge here to try and get the position under control. He's going to be on the wrong side of the blue here, but it feels like he still has got just about enough angle to try and force that cue ball to the top part of the table. Misses the brown and the yellow combination, which wasn't easy, but once again, you have to say, still managed to execute the shot pretty well. Now has got this red lined up into the right corner there, Zhao. So let's have a look if he's going to be able to take it. As I say, the massive point breaker for him is going to have to be the fact of black not being available. And has he managed to slow the cue ball down enough there? I'm not sure he has. And he doesn't seem to be so sure either. He needs the pink to be possible into the left middle. Doesn't seem to be too concerned about it on the second look though. So, of course, still needs a lot of work to be done on the cue ball's point of view to try and slow it down for that red to be possible into the left corner. And in the end, using the side cushion as well. I thought he was going to try and run the cue ball slightly up the table to take one of the highest reds. And in the end, not quite able to do so. So, all going to be about trying to take this red now into the left corner, play it for the pink. That has gone onto the black ball spot, which is going to fix the issue, at least temporarily there, for Zhao. And of course, by the point where the pink spot is available, you could always just try and put the pink there and well, use the position from that point onwards. But now it's a fantastic start there for Zhao Xington, of course, winning the previous frame in the fashion that he has done. And now basically having more than 100 points without answer from Zhang Anda's point of view. But he has to try and spend a lot of time in his seat there. Once again, Zhao Xington just studying the position, having a look at how many reds he's got available to try and take into the right or the left corner pocket. Of course, playing for the one into the right middle would help as well, but I felt like you want to leave that one very much until pink is going to be going back on his spot. And you're going to have the ability to try and utilize that pink spot very much to full advantage there. For now, still no signs of any problems with the positional play. And it does seem like Zhao Xington has managed to fix majority, not going to say all of his problems, but majority of his issues when it comes to getting the easy shots in. Now, just as I say, he didn't have too much of the positional play in his judgment. Has he had one now? Because he certainly seems to be lined up on the shot into the green pocket, but with that one probably being far from ideal. But it looks like it's the only option that he's got. So the two reds that are going to be available into the right corner seem to be in the way of each other. Yeah, this red goes, but he still needs to be potted. 34 points advantage, and the red is going to be potted there. Brilliant shot by Zhao Xington, and it is a 35 points advantage now. And he's going to be able to get himself very much back in prime position to try and extend his lead now. In no time at all, barely half an hour since the match was restarted, and yet we already can see the form that Zhao Xington has been producing the entire week here. You know, glimpses of it certainly in some of the matches against Chris Wakely and Mark Selby, John Higgins, and of course in the semi-final campaign against Zhao Gudon as well. Now just having a look to see if he's going to be able to have the angle here to try and play the cue ball through the pink. Of course he wants to try and stay on the black ball spot for now, although having the pink on it may cost him a couple of points, but it shouldn't matter too much. You know, he's only got two reds compromised on the black ball cushion right next to the black as well. So he's not going to be shying points here. He just needs a couple more reds to be eliminated, and at that point, you know, if he's got a 60 points advantage, with how many cheap colours he had to use, certainly going to be in with a great shout there of getting this frame to be won as well. And for the first time in this match, that would mean, of course, that one of the players has taken more than a one frame lead. You know, we've seen one sequence there of two frames back to back being won, and that was at the point of Zhang Anda doing that, for him to go from trailing 2-1 to be leading Zhao Xington by 3 frames to 2, but certainly that was a long time ago. And that was very much at the start of the second mini session, or the first session overall in the morning. And, well, could have done without having that red in the way of the cue ball there, because trying to spread the reds out, managing to put one more on the side cushion, which at this stage certainly going to be a helping hand there for Zhao Xington. Just needs to try and make sure he concentrates enough on the pot there, makes this pink in, which he does. Now needs the cue ball to bounce away, which he has done as well. So another great recovery shot there from Zhao Xington. Just doesn't seem like he's troubled by anything that's going on around him. And he's just able to go on about his business quietly, and yet it works out perfectly for him. So having at the two reds that he's got available, it looks like he's just stuck in the middle of them. The one into the left middle versus the one into the right corner. Both of them probably will see the cue ball to be played for the blue. And of course he has lost that pink to be on the black ball spot. It's gone back onto its original position there. But it feels like it might happen too late there for Zhang Anda and his hopes of coming back to the table, because, you know, Zhao Xington only needs 2 more reds and he's going to be well clear of Zhang Anda needing a couple of snookers at that point. So he's got the pink basically to be surrounded by 2 reds, but he's going to take the first one away into the left corner. Now about to take the pink into the right part of the table as well. Just having a look to see if he's going to be able to slow the cue ball enough there for him to try and play the red into the right corner. Seems like probably he's going to work out quite well for him, to be fair. Because if you're going to have a 67 points advantage, basically he's going to be this red for a 2 snooker benefit for him. And then try and do something else with the pink to ensure Zhang Anda is not going to be coming back in this frame here. And you can see the breaks of 84 and 68 there and counting. Certainly are going to be doing a lot of damage there. And if you talk about total points scored, I feel like that's going to be a number massively influenced by the 2 centuries made by Zhao Xington at the sort of late part of the first session, you still have to feel like he's going to be dominating the stats aspect. From his positional play, seems to have improved massively. His safeties hasn't been bad at all. The long shots probably have been exploited a lot more than Zhang has managed to as well. Now tries to get the red to be freed up. Once again, looking for that third century of the final. He's still going to be a real threat, by the way, for that Mark Selby record so far this season for the total centuries count. But it doesn't look like Zhang seems to be a threat for now to Zhao Xington. The Chinese world number 8 is flying through the gears. And he's now up to having a 6-4 advantage as he now leads Zhang by 6 frames to 4. Zhang desperately needs a response because it feels like this could be slipping away from him. And he could be sleeping himself there because he didn't have anything to do. At the end of the 9th frame, he could have easily been 5-4 of a lead himself. And in the end it is going to be 6-4 down. Needs an answer now, or it might be too late to try and respond after the 11th frame. Because if he goes 7-4 down, I mean, he was bad enough with Zhao Xington being level with him. I always said, watch out for Xington trying to have the incredible front runner skill that he has. And the only thing that I was going to say of Zhang that he can hope, not rely, but hope for, is that Zhao Xington has played 2 deciders. And he could have been really difficult with trying to deal with that allergy, whole the coughing thing. And just, you know, probably not going to be used to playing so many frames and matches this season. The way that he's gone, of course, it didn't really show any signs of fatigue at the World Championship, but that was a one-off tournament, and you felt like, especially with him competing at an amateur status, he was like just enjoying and savouring the moment. So it's going to be different to try and do the same thing here, but it doesn't look like anything is going to be disturbing Zhao Xington. That seems to be yawning and just taking this one as a practice session. Certainly doing it really, really well. By the way, his 4 latest breaks there: 130, 145, 78. And the one that he just made of 76 points as well. That is incredible consistency there. And all of those breaks, by the way, happened in the last 5 frames. Because, remember, he was 3-2 down. And from that point onwards, he managed to win 4 out of the next 5 frames. And Zhang could feel like, well, this final may be slipping away from him. In a similar story as we've seen at the Players' Championship. I would say English Open probably was a bit of a different one. Because at that point, you know, it was the whole nation series, and it was probably one of his, well, it certainly was his first ranking event final. So you always have to give a little bit of leeway towards him. But you have to feel that he will know better than most of the people in the arena that he can't let this guy get away from him. And it is Zhang just trying to get the referee to make sure that everyone in the crowd is going to stay seated. So, well, it doesn't look like the referee is going to say anything, so clearly just... Okay, so just people getting in the way of each other, maybe looking at who's got which seat. Zhang won't be too much of a fan of that one. And Zhao still coughing, could ask for Jing a drink, was the same. Oh, no, basically, so I got to the bottom of that, and I don't know if it's breaking news or not, but it's basically to do with the allergy. He's mentioned the town of Gordon, which, you know, he's got some of the plants and some of the flowers that he's allergic to. And in the end, he just feels like it should go away within a couple of days, and it shouldn't be so bad. But it still seems to be in that point there. And the referee just... I mean, it does feel a bit laughable now with the time that it's taken us to try and sort it out between the fans. And it's good old you, me, I, me. What's going to happen here? So, yeah, trying to show the tickets. That clearly is not going to be accepted there to... try and go for the seat. And yeah, I do have to say, by the way, why was not this issue raised in the first frame of the session? Why is it happening on the 3rd frame? I mean, if anyone arrived 2 frames later, I mean, you could argue, you know, I'm not going to say that you shouldn't let them in, but you could argue you shouldn't be the one causing chaos if you turned up 2 frames later than the scheduled match starting time. So anyway, we're back underway, and it is a break-off shot by Zhang. Once again, needs that cue ball to be slowing down behind the green, but you can see the little shake of the head. The black is freed, and yeah, the red seems to be freed as well. Zhao Xington has got the ace with him. Is he going to use it now? It's a very similar shot to the one that he missed in the 9th frame, but of course he's going to be a different player now. After all the points that he's managed to score in the previous couple, and he's got the red in, the camera hasn't shown where the cube was landed, and it looks like, well, I mean, his reaction probably says like he's not happy and he's going to have to try and do something about it. But from me, it looks like he's fine on the black there. Ooh, I mean, the way that he's trying to cue this one with the rest shot seems to be really awkward. Needs to make sure he doesn't commit a foul shot either. So desperately trying to ensure that the cue ball is going to get past the black. Ooh, has he overcut this one? It feels like he might have done. And yeah, the black is going to stay over the pocket now. Let's see where the cue ball is finished. Because this could be exactly what Zhang needs. And the fact that Zhao Xington has gone back to his seat, probably suggesting that he's left something there for Zhang, and he has. So, can never be perfect. I don't know why the scoreboard wasn't working all this time. Sorry about that. And it is just 1 point there that Zhao Xington will score. Zhang desperately needs this red to go in, but also needs to be perfectly lined up for the black. And it looks like certainly got the first part of the job done. Easy on the black there. He may be covered up by the reds. I mean, he certainly should be able to play a swerve shot around it. Of course, wouldn't be ideal for him to try to get perfectly lined up for the next couple of reds, which he has got a couple of. Once again, the referee just waving there to the left part of the crowd, maybe suggesting that one of them is going to be using the flashing camera again, or just using their phones. Could be distracting players, and it always seems to be happening on, I mean, conspiracy theory or not, it always seems to be happening on the shots of Zhang there. Something that I've noticed. And yeah, Zhang desperately needs this frame there. 6-5 is going to be a very different story there, and it's a bit of momentum as well to try and pick up into frame number 12. It's going to be a whole different story if it is going to be frame number 12 to start with a 7-4 of a deficit. For now, despite him getting the black, he's still got a semi-difficult red to be taken into the left corner. Needs to avoid the cannon on the brown. Just about done so. How's the pace on the cue ball? He's judged it to perfection. He's not going to be scoring a lot of points though, and that probably would have been the only thing that is going to be good about this break. Because as I say, he's got 2.5 reds there that he can try and pot, maybe 3 in total. You know, he certainly has 1 or 2 that he can try and take quite easily, but I have to say, from that point onwards, it's going to get quite difficult for him. Yeah, needs this frame, he badly needs it, and he needs the one after it as well. Because 7-5, he's just allowing Zhao Xington to basically get himself into that rhythm of at least having a 2-frame cushion, and that very rarely gets rescinded there by any one of the other players. Now, he's going to have to take a very risky shot on the blue. He needs to make it first, and now he needs to wait for a good contact on the reds. Is he going to get it? Doesn't look like it. Now just waiting for the contact of the cue ball, and it looks like he's just about going to be fine for this red into the left corner. I'm not sure about the one into the right corner as well. That's going to be the chance that he desperately needs to try and hold on to if he is to stay in this frame. As I say, the fact that Zhao Xington is going to be able to get away with it whilst only being 13 points clear there, Zhang, is going to be nowhere near good enough. But unfortunately, there was always going to be the issue with the position, and despite him trying to do his best, he's trying to play that shot on the blue straight away, still only managing to score 14 points here and having to play a safety shot away from the main bunch. So nearly left the red over the left middle, but with it doing from the lower part of the table, shouldn't be too much of a concern. Whilst also having the green as a potential backup there for Zhao Xington. So to the top part of the table, the cue ball is going to head, and is he going to finish? In behind the green again. Ooh, needs it to slow down there, Zhao, because he may leave the red that I said was going to be close to the middle away to Zhang. Let's see if that's going to be the case. So, yeah, he's going to try and take this red into, well, I would say try and take it into the left middle, but it doesn't even seem like he's looking at that red, so maybe just the angle seems to be misleading from this camera. Or maybe he just doesn't want to take a risk on the cue ball, because the cue ball is going to be out of control from that angle, you know, trying to head towards the bunch. And in the end, he's played a really good safety shot, to be fair. Once again, probably wants that red to be covered up by the green, because it's not going to be playable if Zhang refuses the red from the position that he had previously, being below the bulk line. For Zhao Xington to be faced on the bulk cushion exactly, he can only use it as a cross double there. Ooh, this cross double may be going wrong for him though. Is he going to finish over the pocket? It looks like he will, but is he going to be on the cushion? He may be as well, and that might just about save Zhao Xington there, because as much as it's still a potable shot there, and a pretty straight line as well, it is going to be all about taking the red with a colour. The black is covered up, as I said. Hasn't really had his positions changed since the last couple of moments. And so basically your best chance is going to be to try and play for the pink, which is right now over the right corner pocket, or trying to hold the cue ball for the blue to be taken into the left or right middle. So all about this cue ball now. A bit of backspin. Loads of backspin potentially now with the way that he's cueing the shot. This is going to go everywhere if he misses it. And, well, I mean, this is going to go everywhere, but in the end, it feels like he's just taken his foot completely off the pedal and just saying that I'm going to get a single point and I'm not going to risk anything more. Not really the champion mentality, I have to say, because, you know, very rarely you see Zhao Xingtong leaving you 2 reds like that, and for you to be able to score 15 points out of those, it feels like it is going to be quite underachievement there from Zhang's point of view. And if you are going to miss that red, well, I'm sorry, but so be it. You can't always be trying to play defensive snooker, especially when you're 6-4 down to someone as attacking as Zhao Xingtong. But I suppose only time will tell whether that was the right shot to play. And if he gets the next chance, of course, it was still going to be all worth it. Probably 40% capacity. I wouldn't say it's 40%, but it's certainly nowhere near to be full. It's still a lot better than what we've seen in the semi-finals there. And probably in the first session as well. With it being the evening session on a Sunday, you know, I suppose there's nothing more predictable than that. And if you talk about the line that Zhao Xingtong is having a look towards, it's a diagonal shot with the cue ball being closer to the yellow pocket. It's actually closer to the yellow spot. And trying to hit the reds closer to the right corner. I can't really understand the way that he wants to hit this one because, ooh, I mean, is he trying to pot it? Incredible stuff there from Zhao Xingtong because, wow, I mean, I was going to say incredible stuff anyway because he nearly left the red over the right corner. But you know what he's done? He's only gone and snookered Zhang Anda there in behind the brown. He cannot believe this one and you cannot blame him. This is, well, you're not going to write this one. And for someone that is leading 6-4, I mean, you're not even going to blame it on the previous shot that Zhang Anda wasn't playing for the colour. This is just incredible luck there because, I mean, the only chance right now that he has got to try and stay in this frame is for him to play the red into the left corner. But even then, the pink, which would have been the prime colour for him to play for, is going to be covered up because the pocket that he needs to pot it in is going to be covered up by the red. So going off against Zhang Anda now, and especially with Zhao Xingtong to be in form, you never quite know. He needs to value his time here because it may be the last shot that he plays in a while. And, well, it's early for people working. 40%. Nah, I don't feel like it's early for people working because, as I say, it's going to be for 7 o'clock in China. I don't feel like, you know, you're going to be having loads of people working at 7 o'clock in the evening in China, especially on a Sunday, you know, for a snooker match. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see the way that this is going to unfold, but I can't really see it to go in the favour of Zhang Anda. But we've seen one of those shots from Zhao Xingtong previously, where he's tried to just go for that red anyway, and he's gone for his Zhang. Is he going to be able to get it? He probably should do, and unlucky there. He was super close to it, but he still managed to do some damage there, and right now, the red is not going to be entirely over the pocket. He's still going to be very much one of those that you say is a sitter, but it's not quite over the pocket there, with the cue ball basically heading towards the red and just going in off the same red there. But I have to say, I mean, probably give a bit of hope there to Zhang Anda's fans. It's still very much a sitter and pink should be available into the right corner pocket, but it's not quite in the pocket until it is. Now it is. Now where's the cue ball going to finish? He's going to finish perfectly on the pink, so, I mean, 2 points there. One, was it really worth just taking that red for Zhang Anda previously and just refusing to go for a backspin shot entirely? Because, yes, you score 1 point and you take a dangerous red away, but you can't just sit there and say, I've got 15 points. That's going to be enough for me in a professional match in the final. And, of course, another point has to be made that Zhao Xingtong got super lucky after his misjudgment on the contact to the reds and getting that cue ball to roll into the cushions and somehow finishing behind the brown along the side cushion as well. That certainly had a couple of stars to go right for him. Looking to try and maybe get the black into the free zone as well, whilst pushing the cue ball off 2 cushions there. So slightly overrun, but may just have the ability to keep the cue ball basically on the black bill cushion. Once again, bit of a side spin. And backspin once again just to take all the power away. Doesn't want to be straight on this red though, because you just put the black onto its own spot there. And still, as much as it's close to the black ball cushion, it still needs to get there for the cue ball. It's playing with topspin. See this, the way this is going to go. And once again, you can see that he's control now. He's completely in control of this match. And he seems to be playing some incredible snooker there, Zhao Xington. Having the ability to concentrate on the positional play completely. And the pots are just going to be taking care of themselves. So, yeah, if you try and get the black into the right corner, he should have the ability to get himself onto some of the higher reds alongside the pink spot. And if you get the red into the left corner, drop the cue ball for the pink to be taken, then you're going to have a great chance of trying to slow it down. But he could have done a lot better than that. He didn't really need to play with any power at all. And that is a mistake there from Zhao Xington. It's still the one that he can recover from. But all of a sudden, a really simple shot on the pink turns out to be quite a nightmare from two aspects. You know, getting that pink is not going to be easy because he needs to try and reach pretty much 1.5 times his length there. And also, he just tries to make sure he's going to keep control of the cue ball because, I say, the pots are going to take care of themselves. Well, not like this, they won't. Very important shot there because if Zhang comes back to the table, this position is still very much waiting for him to try and get within a 1 frame distance there of his opponent. And this seems to have gone horribly wrong. I could see that coming from a mile away. I mean, that is a horrible shot that he's played on the pink. And that is a very cheap giveaway if Zhang Anda is to use this opportunity. Probably a bit of a karma and payback for the fluke that he got on the snooker on the brown. But, I mean, realistically, Zhang Anda had pretty much similar sort of a fluke in the previous frame. Didn't really seem to convert it. Now, is it going to be time for Zhang Anda to finally step up? Because, you know, he got the second invitation, which so far hasn't happened to him at all in the second session. And if he doesn't take this one, I mean, you may as well just say it's going to be a 10-4 win for Zhao Xington. Not so much for Zhang Anda. He needs to try and find the response here and guarantee us to witness at least one more frame there for it to be taken all the way to 15 out of potential 19. So he's only 6 points away, which is good news for him. And another piece of good news is going to be the fact of having all 5 reds very much within touching distance of each other. Probably in a good way, to be fair, because apart from the 2 reds being close to each other, which I do have a feeling he'll try to disturb right now, you should have the rest of them in very simple positions there. Probably as simple as it's going to get in the final. So clearly felt like it wasn't worth to try and get into those reds just yet. Maybe try and get the 3 reds that he's going to be confident about. And try and leave those 2 until the end. But I do have to say, as much as I'm not going to say it's the wrong mentality, I wouldn't really agree with it for now. Because you can utilize having 3 open reds available to you right now. And try and keep them as insurance policy for yourself. Because if you try and get that cue ball into the combination of those 2 reds right now. I mean, he's thinking about maybe if he gets the cue ball position spot on, he can actually play one of those reds without going into the pack of 2 at all. So now it has come down to the next couple of shots here for Zhang. Needs to make sure he plays the black nicely into the right corner, which he has done. So get himself lined up for the red to be taken into the left corner once again now. So 10 points is going to be the difference. So all about taking this red. And, well, this is going to be the chance, really, for him to try and play the contact on the reds because he's going to have the pink over the pocket. Smart shot, to be fair. A real smart shot from Zhang Anda because something that I didn't actually think about. The fact that he had the pink over the right corner just allows himself to go for the shot on the reds without touching any of them, really. And sacrificing the position on the pink. But what's he done? I've just praised him for it. And he seems to have got it all wrong straight away there. From Zhang's perspective, it looks like it is going to be all of his good work undone. And he's got 3 reds that he somehow manages to get in the way of each other. 17 points of a difference here for Zhang Anda. But is he going to be able to try and get through to the top red? It's still going to be an awkward cut. And he better be getting that cue ball to run all the way for cover for the bold colours. But now a very important shot to try and keep himself in charge of this frame. He gets that red in. Is he going to be on the colour? He's going to be on the yellow, just about fine. So it was a very important shot, not an easy one. You know, the fact that he had a lot of pocket to aim at probably was neutralised by the position of the cue ball in relation to that red. So trying to get the yellow now into its own pocket. This is going to get really spicy and interesting for the end point of this frame. Has he got the yellow in? Yes, he does. Has he have the position on the red? Yes, he does again. Well done. Fair play. Because these 2 shots probably were the most important ones that he had to play in the entire match. because all the work of winning those 4 frames at the start of the match is going to come completely undone if he wasn't able to execute those shots. And now he's just within 2 shots away there as he takes the penultimate red. Fingernails holding on. Yes, fingertips, absolutely. By the skin of his teeth there, Zhang Anda. Just still, once again, he needs this frame desperately, and he's sort of over just yet. He may be over now, though, because he has played another important pink, which could have been missed. You know, the cue ball was slightly too close to the side cushion. And now he needs to make sure he utilizes the red as well into the left middle. And at that point onwards, he can start talking about this being a 6-5 over game. And once again, Zhang just trying to pursue his hope of getting another frame win before the intermission, the last one of the World Grand Prix. And for it to be basically just a trade-off of 2 frames each there. And all of a sudden, all that advantage of Zhao is going to go completely out of his comfort zone. And it is looking like, once again, another very important break there from Zhang Anda's point of view. Save the match this frame win. For now, he has. He needs the next one, though. As much as that's going to come across as a bit greedy, 7-4 would have been game over. 7-5 is still very difficult for him to try and recover. And now he needs to make sure he takes that 12 frame. And, well, maybe the first sign, I'm not sure if he's just yawning or something, but maybe the first sign of Zhao Xingtong being really disappointed with the way one of the previous frames has gone. Zhang just unable to develop the brown as well. And now the break of 53 points is not really going to get him anywhere on the brown. So just try and double it into the yellow pocket. Decent effort. In the end, not good enough. But certainly good enough for the break of 53 points to get Zhang Anda back in the game. He's not quite back level, but at least he's not out of the tournament. And it is Zhang Anda 5, Zhao Xingtong 6. The Cyclone still in control, but he would have liked to keep that 2-frame cushion for as long as he possibly could. And Zhang Anda says, thank you very much, I'll try and stay in this match for slightly longer. And it was a very clutch break for him to be turning up at the right moment and at the right time. Zhao miscalculated on pot 29. Cue ball bit overhit. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Like exactly what I said. There was no need to try and hit that red with so much power. Yes, he needed to use it as a handbrake, but just try and roll that cue ball up. I think what he was trying to do is make sure if he gets that cue ball to hit the red, he's not going to be hampered by the red when he plays a shot at the paint. Well, he ran himself out of position on the pin completely, and also, I have to say, that shot was still makeable, and he could have recovered from it, but he missed the paint by, well, about Sheffield, or, I don't know, Telford they missed it by. Mighty Mouse is fighting back, yes. You know, if you put Mouse in the corner, he's going to fight back. That's exactly what happens, because as much as Zhang Anda is in the right corner right now, he'll be very eager to try and come back to the table and still get himself in with a charge there. And was that me, or was there a flashing light on the back of the triangle there with the referee sort of signalling that he put the reds in the right place? I mean, I've never seen that before, and it may have been an illusion and me making things up there, but that was the thing that it looked to me that, you know, when you put the re-rack of the reds back onto the original position of the reds, it might have looked like there was a little bit of a red light flashing. And, you know, didn't seem to move the triangle from there and just took it away. So maybe automation at its best. But yeah, back to the snooker though. Zhao Xingtong is still going to be in a good position for him to be the winner. But at this stage, I have to say, we're probably entering the part of the match where you just want this one done. And you win. If you win the next 4 frames by a point on each of them, you just take it and say thank you. Like, it was a really tough tournament. I didn't win any of my matches too comfortably, apart from maybe that win over Zhao Gudon, which still, you know, came at 5-3. It was a really good break for him to get that semi-final over the line. For now, it's another break-off shot, which, you know, as Peter probably rightly mentioned, has been the Achilles heel of Zhao Xingtong. Now getting that cue ball to be separated away from the reds. And just as I said, it was an Achilles heel. Well, hold on about it. I thought he left the red over the left middle. And he may have got the perfect cover on the brown at the same time. So that is going to put a bit of pressure on Zhang Anda and his next safety shot. Because as much as it was an invitation, and look at the black as well, Zhang will be really disappointed that he hasn't got the ability to try and go for this red into the middle because of that position on the black. It would have been pretty much dreamland for him to try and roll that red in. Basically, just say, you know what, I had a break of 53 points. I'm just going to try and roll it over into the next frame. Got lucky this break. Yeah, I mean, that was probably more of a luck there than, you know, yeah, I've calculated that cue ball to be. perfectly on the ball cushion. And yeah, he seems to be right about this one because, you know, the more you look at it, the more you study the way that he breaks off there, you have to say there has been a couple of bad break-offs, and there has been a couple of questionable ones as well. So, yeah, so this is number 6 there for him because it's frame number 12 to get started. So out of 6, let's say 2 have been normal, 2 have been proper bad, and 2 of them have been meh, sort of in between. When was the last tournament which Mighty Mouse won? It was the International Championship in 2023, the last and the only, so the first, the last and the only tournament that he's ever won, and that was, if my memory is correct, against Chris Wakelin, 10 frames to 7. I was more pessimistic for him, happily wrong, good final. No, I always knew he was going to be close, but, hold on about this one. He's got a red lined up into the right corner, and the black is waiting, as I said before. He needs to make this one in, though. And he's made it in. Brilliant shot there by Zhang. And take that, Zhao Xington, you'll be saying, because you think you've got all the long shots. Well, I've got some as well. Brilliant stuff there from Zhang. And he's back in the rhythm here. Try and be exactly where he left off in frame number 11. It's a change on the scoreboard that you've got one more frame. And it's also a very different situation. But just try and get yourself into that momentum and rhythm. And build it and take it from that point onwards. You know, he's got the black to be taken into the left corner. Has he managed to drop it? He has, but has he run himself out of position on the next shred? The way that he got the cue ball onto his shoulder, very disappointed there. So he's going to have another look, but the way that he's had a look at it straight away feels like there's no way that he's going to be able to continue the break, and that is disappointing. I'm not going to say it's shocking, but it is disappointing because, especially for him to get that black in, is he trying to go for a red into the yellow pocket right now? Well, this is going to be 3 difficult shots in a row. And I feel like this one may be one too many, especially if he plays it with power. Yep, could see that one coming. Where's the red going to finish now? And he's going to finish, looks like he's going to finish all right, just about. Is it going to be all right? I'm not sure if he can get through this one. Let's see. It's no hand of apology. Zhao Xington doesn't seem like he's too much of a hurry to try and take that red. And the way he's approaching the table, probably just looking down the table. So I felt like Zhang got away with that one. And yeah, it could have been a lot worse for him. Now it's all about trying to take this red down the rail from Zhao Xington's point of view. And yeah, got away with one there because, you know, leaving that red probably wasn't a lot of a misjudgment. But, ooh, I mean, what's happened there? I'm not going to say he's left it over the pocket, but this is a bad shot there from Zhao Xington. And that goes without saying that I might not even see the whole picture. You know, he's left the cue ball pretty much nowhere near to be on the black ball cushion. Therefore, if there is a red that goes into the right middle, and if you get sort of underneath the cue ball to control it for the ball colours, this is a real chance there for Zhang, once again, to try and redeem himself. And very much get back in the rhythm here. Taking a bit of time now for preparation for the next shot. Trying to make his way around the table, so just looking to try and drop the cue ball to the top part of the table. He's just looking at the plant that maybe is going to be available there to the left corner. Zhao once again in his usual, doesn't look like he cares mood. Zhao getting careless now. Well, I didn't say it with the way that I feel like, you know, he doesn't care at all, but he just doesn't seem like he's going to be the one feeling the pressure. Apart from it being maybe a couple of final frames of the World Championship. Zhang, though, a brilliant shot into the middle, and he's back with a hunt. Wow, this is getting really interesting now because, you know, there was a couple of frames where Zhao Xington was dominating, and in the end, it is going to be Zhang with 2 real good pots there. Yes, that red to the yellow pocket was careless from his point of view as well, and yes, he still has got a very difficult position ahead of him, but the fact that he's making those reds into the right middle and into the right corner, certainly is going to speak for itself. Now, I feel like he's going to try and utilize the red on the top part of the table for now. Try and take it with the brown. Play that one with power. Bounce the cue ball away pretty nicely. And let's have a look if he's going to have the ability to try and stun the cue ball backwards there onto the right side cushion. I feel like he's got the advantage here, Zhang, because, you know, obviously trying to cue really well. Sometimes he only takes one miss there and... you know, one frame to be sat in your chair and you lose all the momentum that you had built over the last 11 frames or so. And this could be the story there of Zhao Xington because it certainly won't be the first time. You know, we've seen it against Chris Wakelin. We've seen it against John Higgins to an extent. And we're going to see it now because it always used to happen right before the finish line. Well, it's quite far away from the finish line, and it doesn't look like it's going to be getting closer to it in the foreseeable future, with Zhang able to take another blue into the right middle. So all about trying to get himself in amongst those reds, and I have to say, it is going to get a lot better when he's able to get through a couple of difficult ones, because you can see the one that he's going to try and take into the right corner is going to free up another red. That just creates a domino effect where he gives you the chance to score 16 more points. That opens up more space for the cue ball to travel and make your way onto a new red. And that creates just that points accumulating, adding up to each other. And all of a sudden, bang, bang, bang. You know, the break of 53 points at the previous frame. You had a bit of sort of 60 points of this frame. And then all of a sudden, you're back in contention here. Still quite far away from that being the case, though. Needs to take this black into the left corner in the meantime. Still, don't want to say too much right now, but it feels like the pot success has improved massively with the players. So positional play doesn't seem like it's getting the better of Zhang, though, because once again, doesn't seem like he's too happy with the way he's got himself positioned on the red. I have to say, I don't really understand what he was playing for, which is quite weird, but I felt like there was an angle to try and force that cue ball around the black and for the red to be set up into the right corner. And now it looks like he's taking a really difficult red into the middle. I thought he was going to play for the plant into the left corner, but that seems to have gone wrong. He needs to recover. Is he going to be able to? The line looks pretty good, but in the end, the red just fades away, and this is going to be a real costly mistake if Zhao is to get himself back into the frame-winning ways. Yeah, it was super close, but in the end, the slight fade or just the misjudgment on that red is going to cost Zhang a chance to try and get himself back in the rhythm here. Because, as I say, Zhao has got an easy red to be taken, and he's going to have to try and make the most out of this position now of his own. You know, as I say, that's exactly what happened against John Higgins, where he was just not really playing well at all in some of the late frames, and that was something that gave a massive advantage and boost of nitrogen dioxide over to Zhao, and then he was flying through the gears all of a sudden, because, you know, sometimes even when you're not playing well, it only takes one mistake from your opponent to be back in the rhythm. And now Zhao trying to make it a steal once again of 16 points now that he scores. Apart from, you know, the fact that he still needs to try and do some of the minor maintenance work on the main pack of 5 reds, it's probably going to be a straightforward road to the finish line there for him in terms of this frame, barring points. And the fact that he's going to be trying to get a 7-5 gap ahead of his opponent. Zhao giving boost to Ander with errors here and there. Ander will only get better now. Well, that didn't really age well, because you can see that probably a couple of shots after that comment, Zhang Ander misses the red. And, yeah, run himself out of position on the previous shot. That's where the damage was done. And right now, it is up to Zhao Xington, which has got a lot easier of a position than the one that Zhang Ander had, because, you know, there's less reds in the way. And as I said, it was always going to get easier the more of them you sort of take away from the table. But the problem is, he's taken some of them away, but he's done it for his opponent now to be back at the table, scoring a combination of 4 reds and 4 blacks. Now having the ability to try and send the cue ball, basically stun it there, for the red to be taken into the left middle. He's thinking about going for the red into the right middle instead. I mean, he had a look at it previously, and now this seems to be the shot that he's very much looking forward to playing there. I have to say, it's a bit of a surprise to me, because he needs to get this one spot on, and also the position on the black needs to be perfect. And so it will be, he said. If you need it to be perfect, here I am. I'm going to deliver the perfect position on the black, getting that red without touching any jaws. And now, with the way that he managed to spread the reds away from each other and done it again, just to ensure that the result is going to satisfy him. Yeah, he's got 13 point advantage, and he very much has got the position very much at his grasp. Taking another good red into the right corner. So basically he managed to spread out all the little cannons and pairs of those reds. So the 5 remaining ones are going to be very far away from each other. And it was a really good chance for Zhang Ander to be back level with 6 frames each. And it looks like, once again, just the thing that I mentioned. Whatever you do in the previous frame, just please make sure you do your best to try and back it up with a frame win. And if it's going to be the perfect performance from Zhao Xington, then so be it. But that was far from it, and it was such a cheap giveaway from Zhang's point of view. And you can barely see the points changing there, going from 40 to 56 points in no time at all. And now having a 29 points advantage. It's only been an hour and a bit since we started the second session. And it looks like it's about to be over as well. With a 7-5 lead very much there for the taking now for Zhao. He's going to be looking to try and play the black into the right corner. Get that cue ball to be heading up the table. And he still has got a couple of options there next to his name. By the way, 8 reds played with the black. I mean, don't tell me I didn't say it was going to get easier for Zhang. In the end, it got really easy for Zhao. Let's see if he's going to try and stay on the black. There was no need for it, and he still needs to make sure that the work is done from his point of view. 38 points advantage, so about to make it 43. And they couldn't grab the chance off it. Bad position of the cue ball cost him this frame. Yes, absolutely. And who knows how much more is it actually going to cost him? Because if you look at the way the match is going to finish, and you're going to say, you know, you won it by a frame or two, this could have easily been the difference maker from Zhang. But he needs to try and think about it later after the match has ended. For now, grab the opportunity. He's still only 2 frames behind. You know, he needs to win 5 out of the last 7, which doesn't seem too bad, but also doesn't seem like it's an easy mission to accomplish. Right now, it is certainly has been a mission for Zhao on this break, and surely he's not going to get a better chance than making a 3rd century in the final. Could have had 5 by this point, but in the end, you can't criticize the world champion performance like that. Has been really clinical when it comes to trying to get the most out of his chances. You know, he had a couple of those moments in the first session, but, you know, when you back it up with a century of 130, 145 points, you can't really say a bad word about him. So now, as he takes the last corner with the blue, still waiting to witness a century break. 27 points was the number of points that Zhang has scored in this frame, and this could be the number of points that Zhao is yet to score in the next minute or so. And not sure why he needs a rest here, really, because he's played the straightforward shot on the green. I don't think it was a show-off. Probably just misjudged the pace of the cue ball, because, yeah, anyway, it's not really worth to focus on your attention too much. Now he takes that green and the brown combination. He's going to be on for the blue, and the pink is going to be the colour for him to be taking over 100 mark worth of points scored in this break. And it has been very, very clinical from the second start to the session from Zhao. And could it be a repeat of the match against Zhao? Because right now it is going to be a break of 104 points, and Zhao is certainly back here. What a shout he will be for next couple of tournaments. For now, he's got unfinished business here to do, and he's got 111 points to get him into a 7-5 of a lead against Zhang. Zhang will be really disappointed with the chance that he had to try and go back level with it being 6 frames each. But in the end, it is advantage Zhao. And after the last intermission of the World Grand Prix, we are going to be back. And you better make sure that Zhang is going to be back. Otherwise, he'll be out with a bang. Because it is Zhao playing his best snooker of the season. And what a time to finally start producing the form that got him the status of the first world champion from China. Certainly coming back alive in the right time and at the right moment. Can he find 3 more frames for him to be the winner and take the 4th ranking event crowd to his name? We'll be back in 15 minutes time. For now, stay tuned in and don't miss the action. Speak to you soon.
lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way. Birds jumping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane. We must merely make a start. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a roll. Savannah, lion's gonna come. The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to when we were young. For the animals we stand. Let's go back to when trees were swung, kids across the land. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a roll. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a roll. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah.
There's a distance between us. It's getting hard to reach out. Haven't seen you in seasons, but all I hear is your voice. I know my limits, you can break me down, but I'll stay till the finish line. And I've been counting minutes for quite some time now, just to see you again. And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been finding ways to get away, to see you again, see you again. We got millions of reasons to let it all go.
walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul.
Take me in small, breathe me in and let me go. Filling the lungs inside you, and the blackened eyes make my way into your mind. Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in small, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart.
Right then everyone, and for one last time, the intermission is over and let's get back to the action. It is still session 2 and it's still advantage Zhao as it has been throughout 90% of this match so far. It is the world champion that seems to be very much in charge of the way that the final of the World Grand Prix has been heading towards for this moment in time. As you can see once again, no reaction in his face, certainly no pressure for him to be feeling at the moment. And a lot of disappointment, though, to be feeling from Zhang point of view. He was quite close to getting himself back to, well, level playing field there of 6 frames each. In the end, he's gone back to being 2 frames down once again for the second part of this match. Once again, it was at 6-4 and now at 7-5 down. And it doesn't look like he's managing to fix his break-off issues there, because it all seems to be pretty much going one way there for him. Every single time the cue ball gets the left side of the green, and every single time there's a red available for Zhao to be taking. Let's see if he's going to be able to try and take it with a long pot though. And you can see whether it was a deliberate safety shot that he's played, or he was just trying to make sure that he couldn't see enough of that red and playing the safe shot at that time. Snooker is an unforgiving sport. You can lead by a mile but still lose. It happens all the time. Zhang can still win it all. Yeah, but the thing about it is that you are right, but you can say that anything can happen in sport, but there's also a percentage version of it that sometimes, you know, if you lead by 9 frames to 5, yes, you can still lose, but it will only happen once in 10 matches that you play. So this is why it's so important for you to try and have that lead, because you're always... It can go both ways. You know, if you lead it, you can always try and lose the same match, but you're less likely to do so if you've got a couple of frame to use as a cushion. Although, well, if Zhao plays like that, he won't have too many frames to spare, because that is a horror shot that he's had so much traction on the cue ball that he's gone all the way back down the table, all the way up, and once again gone straight alongside the blue there. So Zhang has got a chance to try and take this red with the rest shot, but I mean, it's simple enough to try and miss this red, but also it's the fact that he has to try and get around the black, and then the black itself is not available. So unless he wants to try and get the red away from the black, which, I mean, sounds really difficult to do, but he's actually managed to do it. Brilliant shot there from Zhang, and let's see if he's going to be able to take the position from here and onwards on the way to try and get that gap down to a single frame once again. Tell you what, if you play like that, and there are going to be a couple more mistakes like that from Zhao point of view, still doesn't seem like, you know, he's going to be concerned about massively, so he shouldn't. You know, that's what the lead is for. And also when it comes to just being concerned and feeling the pressure, Zhao is going to be one of the players down the bottom of that list. And it's another good shot there that Zhang has played, trying to keep himself on those reds. At the starting point of the frame, it was always going to be quite difficult for him to try and make his way through those reds there, as he tries to get himself a couple more there into the open play. Stays on the black nicely. Should have just about enough angle to try and force the cue ball to be played onto the black ball cushion and get it around the red to be taken into the right corner at the same time. So just use the black as an acceleration point there for the cue ball. Get himself lined up away from the side cushion, and you know, even though it was a really important red for him to pot off the rest, it was even more of an important contact of the cue ball to be basically in the place of another red that was covering the black. And that certainly was a shot that he's going to bring a handful of points there for Zhang, 17 and counting. And, well, if he gets himself back into the 7-6 position, you certainly have to say he's looking to try and learn his lessons, because, you know, he's going to be taking it very much to the endgame point of this match, while still having a great chance. And at this stage, you have to say, whenever you lose a frame, the scariest part about it is that the next frame, it can get worse for you. Now, though, important shot for Zhang, as he played it well enough. He's played it absolutely beautifully there, and he could not have played the shot any better. You can see the acknowledgement from the crowd. They're certainly going to be turning up in big numbers now, and so they should. The evening session, it all comes down to this for the World Grand Prix to be finished. And Zhang, of course, is going to be interested in the matter of this one not finishing for at least 5 more frames. That's going to be the minimum number for him to be the winner, if he's to somehow turn this match around and go on a winning streak of 5 frames on a bounce. We've seen it happen before, Probably not against Zhao Xington, especially when he comes to the final. But for now, it's an important shot now once again for Zhang, trying to get himself from the black onto the next red. Has to go for a difficult shot though, onto the left middle. We've seen Zhao Xington put one of those into the right middle previously. Now it's all about can Zhang Anda try and do a similar sort of thing there of his own. As I say, he doesn't really have to worry about the position too much, although he's taken another red there, which is going to have even less of the pocket to aim at. He needs to be careful of that front jaw. And he's played it really well. Now, where's the cue ball going to finish? It's going to be perfectly on the black. That was an important shot. As much as it looks simple for you to pot, it's also a very much no room for error at all. And if you catch with a minor flick of any part of that front jaw, the red is going to cannon away. And with the position that he could have given away there to his opponent, it would have been curtains for Zhang Anda once again at this point. Instead, he's still going for a perfect break here. I like both of these gentlemen. I wish they can both win. Good comment, but unfortunately probably unlikely to happen in a competitive sport. There's one rule. Only one must be the champion. And for now, Zhang Anda doing a really fine job there. And just keep this space and watch this space as well, because he is trying to stay on the black here, whether it is just the way that, you know, he's been going on about the business. But if he gets those 6 reds with the 6 black now, yes, his prime objective is still going to have to be try and win the frame, but if he controls it well enough, should be in there with a chance to produce something special. And when I say something special, something that we haven't seen in a long time, but of course we're still very much far away from that being the case. For now, his main focus has to be on getting 73 points, which of course if he is to go on and score all these reds with the black, is going to be the cut-off point, where Zhao Xington will need a couple of snookers for him to be back in the game here. And, you know, all that fantasy talk about the maximum, to be fair, but it has been going on through the easiest reds, despite having some very important contacts on the reds earlier in the break. Now takes another black. Now needs the cue ball to leave himself a bit of distance in between these reds, and this is going to be an interesting point. Does he go and try and play for the black, or does he try and stay on the blue here? Because whatever you do, make sure you win the frame from here. And because remember, it's still the final, and you're still a player that is going to be a couple of frames down. He does look like he's going for a backspin shot though, so trying to bring that cue ball down the table. Well, I'll tell you what, he clearly knows about the fact that he has been staying on the black perfectly. So 57 points, as I say, he's getting closer to winning the frame, and then he can focus entirely on making something really special, something that he has made a couple of times before this season, but this one to happen in the final. This one super special, but of course, you know, good old rule, don't push the horses just yet, because you have got the frame to win. 12 more points to score. I mean, I say, basically, it's 3 more shots that he needs, 2 more reds and a collar, and at that point, it is going to be snookers needed there for Zhao Xington. And now he's managed to play a really nice shot, getting that cue ball to be slightly higher than the reds, which leaves him with a nice angle to try and get the cue ball down the table, whilst just cannoning it away from the black ball cushion. So once again, gets a bit of a neat touch on the rest. It is an extension, so make sure you judge it the pace though. The red still can be missed, but he won't be missed, and he shall not be missed. Zhang Anda is able to get another step closer towards getting a very important frame there on the board. And then we can start dreaming and, you know, very much letting the fantasy to get the better of ourselves. For now, this black and the red needed for it to be a 7-6 of a difference in between the 2 players. The black is in. Ooh, has he tried to cannon the pink out of the way? This can go wrong, and he has gone slightly wrong, you know. That's the problem. When you've got the perfect break, you still need 1 more red. It's 72 points that he scores, but he needs 1 more of them, and he has to go for the one onto the side cushion. It's not quite as bad as it may sound. Ooh, the fact that he has to take it with the rest probably makes it bad. And I'm genuinely not sure you should be playing for the black here. You should be concentrating on winning the frame. Whatever you do, make sure this red is in. And it is going to be. And now, where's the cue ball going to finish? Now we won the maximum, and he's just about going to be on the black. He's managed to cut through those 3 reds quite close to each other. So as long as he manages to get this black into the corner, and then get himself on a couple more of those reds. As I say, it's 2 snookers now needed for Zhao Xington. So he certainly can be thinking about maximum for all the time that he wants. And Yeah, this is going to be extra special. By the way, still, make no mistake about it, it is a super important frame that is taken away from Zhao to try and start the second mini session with a similar way to the way sort of the way that he started the one in the first session as well. Now, is this black going to be in? It looks like it's going to be very thick that he's got this one in, and unfortunately, it's not going to drop in. So, yeah, Zhao should be coming back to the table here. Or is he going to be? 2 snookers needed there for him. I mean, he clearly felt like it was going to be a long battle. And has he continued the frame there? Let's have a look. The scoreboard has gone. No, it is going to be coming back to the table. So 73 points there of a break for Zhang. And that almost something special, as I say, because getting that black probably would have been the missing piece of the jigsaw. Because as you can see there, with Xington trying to get this red into the corner past the black. And he's able to do so. So, you know, a bit of a clever shot there from Zhao. And as much as he still needs 2 snookers, it is something that is going to be worth battling for. And you can see the perfect way that he struck that red exactly in the front jaw to make sure he couldn't pass the black. So he had to cannon his way off the black into the pocket. A real nice shot there from Zhao. Although could have been nicer. The transition onto the next red. Has to take the one into the middle now, instead of the one closer to the left corner pocket. So the task is going to be simple for now. 4 reds, 4 blacks. Get yourself 32 points. And then just try and do a bit of damage on the last red. Clearly getting that cue ball to be in behind the pink. So he's going to need one of these reds to leave. And he's got 3 of them very close to each other. So just needed to make sure he didn't lose the cue ball on the previous occasion. Which he hasn't, to be fair. So now a bit of queuing on the white. A rare shot taken nicely. Has the white to bounce away onto the black ball cushion again. So it's now 17 points of a break. As much as it's still very much Zhang Anda's frame to lose. We've seen some weird stuff going on about World Grand Prix. And especially, you know, Zhao Xington knows it better than anyone else. Where Chris Waitley needed 5 snookers, 19 foul points. And he was able to find 15 of them from 2 snookers and 1 free ball. In the end, wasn't quite able to get over the line. Especially for that to be in the decider of a quarterfinal. And the rest is potentially there to be history, you know, because this could be the match which has taken Zhao Xington closest to him actually losing. You know, yes, the match against Mark Selby was super close, but to be fair, he was pretty much in control of that decider. And in the end, Selby was playing absolutely horrific stuff there, as I'm sure he wouldn't mind admitting as well, particularly in the last frame. I mean, I didn't mean the entire match. I mean, in the last couple of frames there. Which probably explains the way that Zhao Xington has managed to win 4 in the bounce against someone as consistent. And as many players said, probably no one as consistent on the tour for the last 10 or 15 years as Mark Selby has been. So for now, in the meantime, you know, I said it was a simple enough task for Zhao Xington to try and get those reds to be separated through the pockets. In the end, he had to lose a couple of points playing the pink. And also, right now, he needs this red to be cannons onto the side cushion. And try and make the way of the cue ball behind the black. And what a shot that is. I mean, I thought about trying to make it simple in past the pink. In the end, simple is not going to be about Zhao Xington. Brilliant stuff there. And back to Zhang Anda it goes. So, of course, Zhang will still very much be eager to try and get this frame over and done with as soon as he possibly can. But in the same way that he doesn't compromise himself too much, that he might cost him dearly by the end of the match. And, well, Joel Spencer once got 6 snookers against Jimmy White, so you never know. No, absolutely, like, this is what I'm saying. And, like, I feel, ooh, this is not a real nice line there. And Zhang Anda has gifted one of those snookers away, so that's not really the way for him to be about the business. I felt like the shot from 2 cushions instead, it could have been easier. Yes, I suppose, I can understand why he didn't play it. Would have had a greater chance of conceding a free ball. But in the end, I have to say, right now, it is only 1 snooker needed for Zhao Xington. And all of a sudden, you know, it was a maximum attempt around 3 or 4 minutes ago. And right now, it is all about trying to make sure you get this frame very much under your belt. And try and get over the line here. If he gets to the lower part of the cue ball here, tries to push that red down the table. He needs to try and finish the cue ball with the contact to the yellow. Has he managed to do it? I'm not sure he has. And if he hasn't, and if that's not the case, he's left the red over the left middle as well. So I feel like even if he has, he's pushed that red too close to the side cushion. So Zhang Anda should have the ability to try and make contact with this red, even though, of course, he can't afford to be misjudging anything now. He needs to be spot on with his positional play, and also, as I say, the same good old rule, he still wants this frame to be over and done with as soon as he can to try and keep some of this momentum that he managed to get in the sort of opening frames, in the opening part of the frame, I should say, and he's just played an absolute cracker of a shot, maybe even getting the snooker on Zhao Xington, and if he hasn't done so, he's certainly going to try and force him to go with a real thin cut on the edge of the red, which may push it over the pocket. In the end, he hasn't done so. Has he managed to land a snooker on him? Ooh, somehow he has. That's going to be real unlucky there from Zhang Anda's point of view. Because, you know, as much as it looks simple, it may not be the easiest shot that Zhang Anda has to hit now. Because, yes, he's got the red super close to the ball cushion, but not too close to it, which allows that double bounce to occur from the ball cushion itself. So he's clearly felt confident about it to be hitting that shot with power. In the end, he didn't catch the great part of the red, but still manages to hit it just about fine there. Not forcing over the right corner pocket. Having the yellow over that one certainly helps. But I feel like, you know, I say having the yellow over the pocket will help. It's going to be a potential target now for Zhao Xington to try and get the cue ball in behind off. And yeah, he got this one wrong. He knows he had the ability to try and get that cue ball in behind the black. And in the end, he's probably left out Zhang a chance here to get himself back into the safety battle here. Put a lot of distance in between the cue ball and the red. And maybe even force it over the pocket. You never quite know. You know, he still needs a snooker to find. He's very unlikely to do it on the yellow. And if that red is over the pocket, you may as well try and pot it with a black here. So, yeah, it's a bit of a thinking process there from Zhang Anda's point of view. Let's see what his decision is going to be made. I feel like it's the right decision. Just try, get himself into a safety battle. Play that red to be onto the side cushion. And I feel like he's almost managed to snooker Zhao Xington here. As he takes a bit of time to get down for the next shot. I'm going to use this opportunity to say thank you very much for everyone tuning in for the stream. And feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as well. We are going to have some of the best tournaments of the season coming up very shortly. And for now, Zhao Xington is able to get himself back into a safety battle here. So pushes that red straight across and to the top part of the table. Pretty much having the cue ball and the red in a straight line there, just about on the right part of the spine of the black, pink, blue and brown all being on the spots. But this does look like a nice line, as long as he's judged the pace well there, Zhang Anda. This is going to leave the red onto the black ball cushion, and well, with the yellow being placed quite awkwardly, preventing that cue ball from hitting the red from the right side cushion. This could be a real difficulty of a shot there. It may force Zhao Xington to swerve around here, and therefore he's going to be very much compromised in terms of the way that he's got the cue ball and the red to be placed, and that is really fortunate there from his point of view. I mean, I have to say, there was no hand of apology, but I can barely believe that he was playing it like that. And Zhang will not be a happy man, because this is not an easy one. It has to be done off two cushions for me. This is quite far away from the cushion as well. This is not like the previous one. It's a genuine concern there for him. Because, yeah, 4 points is going to be given away there. Zhao Xington takes this red with a black and total clearance is being made. He could still make it an 8-5 of a gap next to his name. So then, as I say, off the right side cushion, off the bulk, trying to get it diagonally across towards the middle pocket. Has he got it? Yes, he has got it. Now, where's the cover going to be? There's not going to be any cover, but I do have to say, this is not really going to plan there for Zhao Xington, because he is trying to get the snookers here, but he's also trying to dismantle the position quite badly, and, you know, basically you only have blue, pink and black now on their spots, and this could be another concern for him when he needs to make that clearance. But for now, just needs to try and hold that cue ball to being behind the black, forces the brown to be in a problem position again now. And ultimately, I'm not sure if he's got a snooker now. I need to see a better angle than this. I feel like there may be a way for Zhang to try and get past the ping. If there isn't, he needs to basically try and replicate the same shot that he's played previously. Once again, now just the yellow pocket, left side cushion, bulk, towards the right middle. And pretty much in between, I would say, the right middle and the right corner. I want the cue ball to be hitting down the table. Try and hit that red slightly on the left of the yellow spot. 1, 2 cushions. Has he got it? Yes, he has got it. Brilliant touch there. Straight in full ball. And trying to force it down the side cushion as well, which certainly will help. Because as much as it still leaves that cue ball to be potentially guided in behind the black, at least it puts a bit of distance there in between the cue ball and the target ball here for Zhao. This is looking good. This is looking really good, to be fair. He got the cannon to be just about spot on the yellow. And he's a little bit concerned to see if the cue ball can see that red on the side cushion. And I'll tell you what, from the way that Zhang has approached his shot, the answer is clearly going to be no to him. Wow, this is a really difficult snooker in behind the yellow, right over the right corner pocket. And even though the red is on to the side cushion, because there is so much distance for the cue ball to travel, you may have to hit this one with 1.5 length of the table here, off the ball cushion. Yeah, Zhao managed to do really well to land all these snookers on Zhang. And it's still very much 50-50 on who's going to be able to win the frame, if Zhang, of course, is unable to hit the red. But at that point, it will be advantage Zhao and certainly give the Cyclone the chance to dispatch the under here. Zhang regrets chasing the maximum now. I feel like you're not... Well, let's have a look at this one first. 2 cushions. This is close. This is super close. And he got it really nicely on that. On 2 cushion escape, by the way. I mean, wow. That was brilliant there. And he had to travel 2.5 lengths of the table there, Zhang, and he's certainly going to be concerned about it. But I feel like still, he made sure that he was clinical with all of his opportunities there. Yes, 73 points. You know, you're not quite over the line, but he was 2 snookers. The black was over the pocket. And you have to give credit for Zhao, the way that he's managed to delete all that momentum and basically put it in the bin. And, you know, you're not saying like he's lost this frame. He's still got a snooker in very much ahead there of Zhao. He's got the brown and green far from ideal positions. The yellow is quite far down them as well. And there's the first mistake from Zhao, having the chance to try and roll the cue ball in behind the brown. Now he's going to have this red available for Zhang. So let's see if he's going to be able to try and get this one into the pocket. Just try and get close to it. Well, that's a brilliant shot, and he is going to be in. So who's going to be regretting chasing the maximum down? You're never going to regret it, especially after you've made one in the German Masters a couple of weeks ago and in the Shanghai Invitational Masters as well against Ding Zhuhui. Zhang, he's going to be taking this frame away after a good battle with Zhao. It is still going to be very much Team Zhang on 13th frame. And he now moves ever closer to trying to play the chase game once again against Zhao. And it is only going to be 1 frame in this encounter. It is Zhao 7 and Zhang 6. As we still wait on to complete the clearance there from Zhang's point of view. See if he's going to be able to try and roll the green into his own pocket, get himself positioned on the brown, and then try and line the shot up for the blue. Well, can't quite happen, but in the end it's still a break of 10 points, which will be more than enough there for Zhang to get the 6th frame on the board. He had to wait a bit of time for that one, and certainly has been able to do so now. It is still a great opportunity for Zhang to try and come back stronger in the deciding. Well, you never know, maybe even 6 frames there for us to witness the decider. But for now, it is still advantage Zhao. It is 7, Zhang 6. Well, it's still all to play for. Once again, thank you very much for everyone tuning in. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. And if you can, I'm not going to block the messages, but if you can, please keep the chat English open, English only, because, as I say, I can't really say what you're saying, and therefore cannot respond to the message that you're trying to send. But we are in China, so there's nothing wrong with it. Sending a message in Chinese, and what a tournament it has been. It's already an absolute beauty to watch, and an absolute pleasure as well to be watching with you. And yeah, as I say, once again, thank you very much for everyone committed to the stream, and feel free to be joining in for the World Open, the Players Championship, and for the Tour Championship ahead of the Welsh Open and ahead of the World Championship. Is it going to be the number 2 for the likes of Robertson, Trump, or Zhao, or is it going to be the magical 5 for someone like John Higgins, Mark Selby, or even the magical 8 for Ronnie O'Sullivan? It does say that Chinese people feel like number 8 is a lucky number. Well, he's got 8 Masters crowns, he's got 8 UK Championship crowns, and yes, he's been well under his form in the end, is still going to be a real threat for the World Championship crown as well. Thank you so much. Absolutely nothing for. As I say, thank you to all of you. And yes, we're about to witness very much the dessert now. We've had the appetizer, we had the main course. Now let's move on to the sweet dessert now. And what is it going to be? Is it going to be Zhao Xington finally kicking into the form that we have seen glimpses of? Once again, as I say, the 2 centuries back-to-back, straight one after another, with a brilliant spark there that he's shown in the very much at the end point of the first session there. Is it finally going to be Zhang Anda to try and string a couple of those together? He still only has a break of 91 points as his highest in the entire match, despite, you know, having a genuine maximum attempt and getting really far into that one. Pretty much halfway there. Well, exactly halfway there, I should say. He was on 73 points, trying to get on 147. In the end, had to still try and battle for that frame to be taken away there from Zhao Xington. But as he was able to do so, it is very much over to you, Zhao. And let's see if it is going to be a response from Xington, or is it going to be another comeback made very much possible from Anda's point of view. Remember, only led in this match at the point of 3 frames to 2. That was the only point where Zhang Anda was closer to the title than Zhao Xington. And apart from that, it is going to be, once again, Xington break-off shot to be taken. So it gives the turn back to Zhang Anda. So far, it has been a bit of a flaw, as noticed by a couple of people in both of the players' game, but especially from Zhao Xington's point of view. Let's have a look if that is going to be the case here once again. It looks to be to the extent, you know, it looks like it is going to be Zhang Anda very much trying to get himself lined up for the right corner of that red. And let's see if he can try and make that cue ball past the black, get it on the left side of it. That you never quite know. With the way the reds are positioned, this could be an absolute joy for one of the players to try and get their hands on the position. So he got the red in. How's the color position? It's looking good. You just wait, sunshine. You just wait. It's brilliant there from Zhang Anda, and he's able to get this red into the right corner. Now he's going to be lined up perfectly on the brown or green. This is turning out to be an absolute blockbuster. And as I said, Sean Murphy against Anthony McGill was decided on frame number 15. And is this one going to be decided in that point, or is it going to be taken all the way for us to witness 19 incredible frames of brilliant action there in between 2 great players from China? Frame 13 of everything in the snooker match. Good pottings, Mrs. Snooker's greatest hit. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It didn't have a maximum. It didn't have a century, but you can't have it all in the in one frame. But it certainly was a brilliant frame to be watching. It was breathtaking from me. As I say, I mean, I had a horse in the race to see Zhao Xington in the final, but I don't really care who's going to win in this one. So it was really interesting to be watching the way that Zhao just kept lining up those snookers on Zhang Anda's point of view. And Zhang was able to get himself out of those positions. For now, it's a rash shot to be taking this red into the left corner. Has he got it? Oh, he hasn't. He hasn't, but has he left anything? I feel like he hasn't either. He was playing for the pink and not for the red, which might have saved him there, but he's looking down the line and he knows he's not happy with himself because they're probably, well, there's a line of about 5 reds and 4 reds on the left and the right-hand side, and it seems like there's going to be a corridor for Zhao Xington to potentially try and get his hands on that red into the left corner. So the fact that he's taken an extension on the cube probably feels like he's going to be committed to it, and this is going to be just like that frame number 12, where he was super close there, Zhang, to try and get himself back level. Well, he wasn't quite as close here, but he could give another chance away. Now, the red is in. Is the black possible? It's not perfect, but Zhao Xington will be happy with this one for a chance to be taking the black into the right corner of the table. Said it, Zhao. Break always not good enough. Let the opponent have a chance to stop. Yes, true, but once again, it's just not getting the most out of it there from Zhang Anda's point of view. And, ooh, I mean, he got the black in pretty nicely there, Zhao, but he's misjudged the contact on the cue ball, and he's going to be quite close to the side cushion. Let's have a look. He has got a variety of reds to choose from, so that's going to get him nicely on the black. If he gets the red in, oh, he's played it with power, and he still manages to avoid any sort of misjudgment there from the pot success point of view, and he gets himself very much in line with another potential disappointing frame from Zhang Anda's point of view. He had the chances there. It just doesn't seem like he's able to take all of them. And especially when he gets close to Zhao, I mean, that's the point. That's probably why he only led once in the 13 and a bit frames that we've seen. Zhao Xington has never been further than 2 frames away, but he always seems to be edging out ahead. And the reason for that is he's been a lot more clinical than Zhang so far, and therefore you just feel like that's going to have to change right now, but it just doesn't seem to change. And then you have a fantastic frame 13 like we've seen previously from Zhang's point of view, and then he comes away with a brilliant long shot, able to get the brown in, but just, lands himself slightly awkward on the red, and doesn't take it into the pocket. And that leaves Zhao with a chance here, which, once again, it's not going to be the easiest, but it's certainly not going to be the hardest ones that we've had to see Zhao Xingtong to try and make his way through. As pink is going to go in the middle of the reds here, so that's certainly not going to be bothering Zhao Xingtong for a couple of shots there. So he still has got blue and black to try and pot those reds with. So 18 points of an advantage, 115 at the table. And it is Zhao Xingtong trying to get himself lined up with the cue ball to be sent towards that right part of the table. So referee just taking a bit of time to make sure that the pink can't go in between those reds. And we'll place them at the bottom of the whole reds back there. So pretty much down the line. And now having a look to see if it's going to be aligning with the other balls on the spine. Blue, brown and the black. Because probably the longest point of Zhao Xingtong's braid there. The fact that the referee needs to get this pink into the perfect position. Now that seems to be over and done with. So we can go back to watching some of the action here from the Cyclone here. Once again trying to make sure he does his best in terms of landing it. One of the last blows that he'll need to get himself over the line here against Zhang. Trying to get the black into the left corner certainly will help. And just trying to accelerate the cue ball into the bunch here. I can see him lining this shot up. Has he played it well enough though? Ooh, I'm not sure about that. I am not sure about that. There's a game on Steam called that. But I have to say, this shot that he's played, trying to separate the reds from each other, he's played it pretty well. But there's always going to be a problem when you play from underneath. You're always going to have the reds going away from the cue ball towards the left and right middle. And he's got a shot into the yellow pocket. He's got a shot into the green pocket. I'm not sure if he's got anything into the middle. And this is going to be difficult. I said this man knows no pressure. Well, that was before the end point of this match. And I feel like this red is in. And it is going to be in. Fantastic shot once again. And the man, if he knows about pressure, he certainly doesn't know the definition of that word in his vocabulary. Brilliant shot once again under pressure. Calm as you ever like. And still back in charge of the position there. Having got through the most difficult stage, he manages to power the cue ball onto the reds once again to ensure that the result of the desired outcome is going to be achieved there for him. And it is 37 points that he scores on the break, but it feels like he could well go on to score 100 points out of this break, especially with the way that he managed to spread the reds away from each other on the last couple of shots that he's played. And I have to say, I mean, it is really a school on how to learn from your opponent's mistake there, taught by Zhao Xingtong, because when was the last time, and it certainly wasn't in the last 4 frames, that Zhao Xingtong was going for a long red, and he managed to finish off the frame brilliantly with a clearance. He seems to have won the last 2 frames, so Zhang won 2 frames out of the last 4. Zhao Xingtong is looking to try and do the same thing here. The 2 frames that he's won come from mistakes of Zhang. So if you take those 2 frames away, and you say there would have been no mistakes from Zhang's point of view, and he would have been able to finish off the break which he started, because you can't say that, he was unlucky or the position wasn't there, because Zhao Xingtong has gone to the table and he's managed to come back with what looks like a perfect outcome, and certainly in the first one. Now trying to land the final blow in the second one as well, getting another red and 49 points of advantage over his opponent. And yeah, you just have to question the ability of Zhang to try and finish off the thing that he started with the break. Zhao Xingtong certainly has been super clinical when it comes to that aspect of his game. Clearly focused, clearly comfortable with the way that he's playing, and clearly delivering the best performance so far. Although, I have to say, that was super close. He still dropped a red in, but that was super close to being missed. So that would have been a jinx. I tried my best, Zhang fans. I couldn't quite make it in the end. But it's still very much game on here for Zhao Xingtong to try and put this frame behind him. He's got 67 points of an advantage now. He's got 67 points Sorry, he's got 67 points on the board, 62 points of an advantage, and he's got 67 points, very much ahead of himself. So the red to be taken as a frame ball there into the left corner. Play across the table for the black, and it is going to be once again a 2-frame lead restored. And ever since that 2-frame lead was taken at 6-4, it doesn't seem to come away from Zhang Anda or Zhao Xington. It's been there at 7-5, and now once again it's going to be there at 8-6. A brilliant frame there, very quick, very clutch, and very much clinical there from Zhao Xington. He was trying to battle the previous one. It could have been a steal of the tournament there for him. In the end, he couldn't quite make it work, so he's gone on. I'm going to try and wait for another mistake because I know he will come, and he certainly did come on the third shot that he was trying to play. Trying to get that red into the left corner there, Zhang Anda, and I mean, there's going to be a list of the reds and the colours that he missed that are going to be really painful for him to try and get through. For now, it's going to be a century break that we want to see as fans. The fourth one of the match, and all 4 of them to come from Zhao Xington's point of view. And this guy is absolutely special when it comes to many aspects of the game, but I don't feel like there's going to be anyone better than him when it comes to the break building skills right now on the tour. Just needs this red to go alongside the cushion for it to be 100 points. Set it, Zhao break. No, we've done that one before. So play the red alongside the side cushion. He could still get a break of 100 points. Is he going to get it? Yes, he does. Just about rolls that red in. He thought about staying out, but then he thought, you know what, it's in the final. I'm going to let you off on this one. Even though you haven't played that shot perfectly. It is the century number 4 out of the 8 frames that he's won. And Zhao Xington take a bow. This has been a fantastic performance in the 14 frames though. Don't think that I'm just saying that he's going to win this one. Still anyone's match for the taking. But if that is to be the case, Zhang needs to fix his errors of not being clinical enough. Great break by Zhao. Under error. Second red was wow. Well, it was the 2 shots that he played. It was the brown to red transition, and also the way that he basically was taking that red with so much power. You feel like if he would have been on the green, this could have been him taking the first century of the match, but could have, would have. Doesn't really exist there. If doesn't exist in professional sport, especially when it comes to snooker. You have to be there when it matters. And Zhao Xington, I mean, he's certainly been in there all the time. And a break, absolutely special one for 134. He's thinking about a trick shot. He's made a 145 already. Now, we deserve to be seeing a trick shot. And what at that? Look at that for a trick shot. Brilliant shot into the black ball cushion onto the right side. And into the yellow pocket it goes for a 134. Zhao Xington, you have no right to be losing this match from here because this is naughty and this is almost humiliating there for anyone that would have been playing this young man. He has got a bright future ahead of him. If it's not bright enough for you to be the world champion at 28 years of age, this has been an incredible performance and exactly the way for you to finish that 14th frame with a black, with a trick shot into the yellow pocket. Take a bow, Zhao Xington. What a special player is Zhao. So entertaining. I mean, that was clinical. The fact that he was going for it on every single century that he's made, and still, it was a 130, and I was like, come on, man, you have to be taking it to make it 137, and he wasn't. Next frame, he goes on and makes a 145. You can't criticize the kid. You can say he's got a bit of a safety thing to work on. You can say his break-off is a bit crap sometimes, but you can't criticize this kid because he's got everything, all the tools to try and be certainly the next yacht jump, certainly the next someone like John Higgins or Mark Selby in terms of the titles and the World Championships, but could he become someone like in the special league of Steve Davis, Stephen Hendry, and maybe even someone like Ronnie O'Sullivan? He's got a couple of years ahead of him, that's for sure, but for now, he's got a couple of frames in between himself and the World Grand Prix title, the first one in his career. And remember, incredibly, as I'm praising him, he only has 3 ranking titles to his name. Of course, turning pro 10 years ago, making it to the top part of the game in 2022, had that ban which lost him 2 years of his career, unfortunately, but in the end, I still say he's going to be pretty happy with the way that he's gone ever since. And by the way, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching the stream, being with me here. It's been an absolute pleasure to be watching the World Grand Prix, and feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. It is Zhao Xington dominating the poll and dominating the match, it would seem. Not dominating, but being in control and certainly staying in charge of this match as it stands. And let's see if he's going to be able to take 2 more frames straight away there, or is it going to be Zhang Anda once again trying to push him all the way towards a 10-8 10-7 or 10-9 win, it is going to be Zhao Xington to win. It still can be Zhang Anda to try and win in the decider, or winning 4 frames on the bounce and making it a campaign to remember for himself, being the underdog in the majority matches that he's played and still coming out on top at every single time of it. 8 centuries this week now. That's absolutely special, but I'm going to have a look. I'm not sure if they update the stats automatically, but I just want to have a look at the way that the sort of centuries count is going to be. Because you make 53 there for Mark Selby, 49 for Zhao Xington. And as I say, I'm not sure if that has updated, because I feel like he's been stuck on 49 for a while. He could be challenging Selby there for the top spots of the centuries counted in the season, but I do feel like with so little tournaments left to play, even though there's World Championship to play, you can't be making a century every single frame that you play, so he's still going to have a very difficult job of trying to reach that count of 100 centuries, but it's still possible if he's going to be making a ranking event final every single tournament that he's going to be participating at. For now, it is back to Zhang Anda, and his chance for a break-off shot, hopefully for himself, to finally be clinical enough so that he can try and have a campaign to remember for this frame and get himself lined up with a good and convincing frame win, and maybe for the first time, a century break of his own. So, how's the break-off looking? It's looking nice from my point of view. I'm not sure if Zhao can get through to the right, onto the right corner, but it feels like he can't in the attacking play. Certainly can do so in the safety side of things. Oh, I mean, well, I'll tell you what, it looks like he's playing this one. No, it looked like so for a moment. In the end, he just forces the cue ball down the table and onto the black ball cushion. 10 to win. Needs how many frames to win? Yeah, sorry, Lawrence, ignore that one. Apologies for that. Best of 19, so first to 10, so he needs to be on the 10 frames. Therefore, he needs 2 more frame wins. So around 140 points if you spread it out equally across the 2 frames there. That he stands in between Zhao Xington and Zhang Anda. And, well, I mean, Zhao Xington winning the title, of course, Zhang will need a lot more points than that for him to be the winner. 2 Chinese players. Zhao good. Zhao is certainly good, and he's more than good if he's going to be playing shots like that and frames like that we've seen. Once again, the fact that he's got 4 centuries and all of them have been the breaks of 110 and higher, it's nothing but extraordinary, especially for that to be in the final. Only weeks for Zhao, if you can call that, his break-off. Yeah, as I say, you're always going to find something, but I tell you what, he certainly makes up for it in the other aspects of the game. He has been absolutely superb, especially in the final. I mean, I always thought that he was going to be getting to the stage of getting, you know, maybe there was going to be a stage of him burning down. There certainly wasn't that. He was just getting better and better with every single frame that he's played, with every single match that he's played, to be fair, because he did have some shocker frames. But I feel like I said 15 frame was very important for Murphy against McGill in the British Open final. 14 frame could be the bone breaker for Zhang Anda, because it's really difficult to recover from that. The 1-2 frames before that, can't do the maths now. 11th frame was bad enough, but I feel like if Zhao Xington gets himself another good chance, which he has done now after a mistake from Zhang Anda, so this red to be taken into the middle, very quick to get down for the shot and hit it. He made it. Where's the cue ball? He's going to be on the brown just about nicely. As I say, I just feel like this might be starting to slip away there from Zhang, but it's all going to be down to Zhao Xington to see just how well he executes the chance that he's going to be presented to him. He's got the brown to be disappearing into the green spot. Where's the Western player? I don't know, probably on holidays because he lost. We had the 4 China players in the semi-final, so you're never going to get a Western player out of it. And the damage was done to Ali Carter and Chris Wakelin in the quarterfinals. And the top-seeded players from Wales, from Scotland, from Australia, and from England, and from Northern Ireland have all been knocked out in the first couple of rounds. So for now, it is the pink to be taken into the left corner there. And Zhao Xington, I mean, he seems to be in such a chill mood there. Doesn't have to be feeling any pressure now. He's got a 2-frame cushion, and he also has got a brilliant style to go with it. As I said, the longest part about the previous frame was referee trying to get that pink to be underneath the reds. And right now, didn't quite happen to be the same story, with referee just settling to go and put the pink spot, and go and put the pink onto the yellow spot straight away. So Zhao is going to have to try and make his way through the blue, which, to be fair, I mean, I didn't really notice that because of how well Zhao Xington was playing, but he doesn't have the black, now he doesn't have the pink, He's got the bold colours and he's got the blue to try and make his way through this position. I tell you what, if there ever was a test for you to try and go 96 clear, well, that is it. Because the way the reds are occupying the black there, it's going to be very difficult to try and get that black into the open play. Zhao win 10-7. Yeah, it does look like it. Does look like it. I'd say 10-7 now is going to be the most likely scoreline for that to be the case. Zhao looks like maintaining his 100% record in ranking finals. Yes, he's only played 4 of them. I mean, this is the 4th one, but still incredible when you talk about the opposition. And now just trying to get this red. Oh, it's a real thin cut. But once again, I mean, I say it's a real thin cut, and the next second he just gets down and hits the shot absolutely beautifully down the straight center of the pocket. And look at that position for the blue. Absolutely spot on. I mean, I know I said it's a challenge. It's a pretty good weapon to have in your back pocket when you've got that positional play to be sorted pretty much to the perfection point. So you just need to make sure that you've got the pot success to go with it. And for now, it just seems to be on the automatic mode there. He can just get himself into autopilot and he'll cruise to a 10-6 win from here, really. Because if he takes this frame, it's over. I am going to be a bit of a bad news bringer there to Zhang fans. But if he takes this frame, especially for this position now that he's taken 30 points from, still has the beautiful angle now to try and get the cue ball back for the blue. He's got 3 or 4 reds to be surrounding the black. He's got another 4 reds to be basically in the pack right underneath the pink spot, or basically covering the pink spot. He's got 1 more loose red, but the way that he's managed to get through the first 31 points, it just allows him to give the cue ball a lot more freedom to travel. And once again, as long as he sorts out the angles, which he has done every single shot so far, he just seems to make it look so easy there that he gets slightly underneath the red of a straight angle, and then he just pushes that cue ball to be heading off the side and onto the blue ball straight away, and then he just repeats the sequence every single time, and that's how he managed to get 37 points now. And of course, don't let this fool you that he's scoring badly. He's taking all of these reds with the blue, so it means that he's taking 2 points out of the single shot that he's taken, so out of every single red and color sequence. So 42 points is basically going to be equal to, I don't know, 56 or something like that at some point. And, oh, misjudged that contact though, off the edge, trying to bounce it onto the blue. But, of course, the good thing about it is when you misjudge it with too much power, with the cue ball being sent to the top part of the table, you'll always have 3 ball colors and the pink to meet you there. Because the pink right now has gone onto the yellow spot. Once again, needs a massive bounce off the side. And he's going to get it. Once again to the perfect point there of Zhao. This could be a real quick last mini session there, I tell you that for free, because it looked like Zhang was going to have his chances in every single one of them, but Zhao has turned up in this frame and said, well, you know what, you had your chances, you didn't take them anyway, so I may as well try and take it first time here, and just finesse these reds into the corners, blue to be taken into left and right middle, and that leaves him with a 53 points advantage and only 75 at the table. So from this point onwards, you have to say it is very much 3 shots needed, and then Zhao can be just 1 frame away from 1 more glory in his career and 1 more perfect final to add to his record that he's not going to lose. We have seen so many of those finals this season to finish with 10-6. You know, as I say, Judd Trump against Mark Selby. I mean, I say so many. Weezy against John Higgins. Then I thought like we had John Higgins against Karen Wilson. So that's 3. So that's not too many, but not too little as well. And it looks like this one is going to be heading the same way because the blue is taken. Could have been nicer on the frame ball. Ooh, just about rolls it in. Touched the cushion, which is going to be a minor flaw there. Asking the cue ball to slow down, which, you know, is very much the master of the cue ball. And he'll listen to it. So just about going to be fine for the blue to be taken. So it's now 60 points of the advantage with 59 on the table. So he's got 4 reds to try and make his way through to the right part of the table. And for now it is going to be the blue to try and take into the right part of it now. Into the right middle. I mean, I'm not sure why he's looking at the bold colours. Maybe he's just fancying himself to try and pot anything now. And try and disturb the reds. I mean, you never know. He might go for a 5th century. What's the record of the finals, though? It is the 7th. It is 7th century breaks by Hendry, though, isn't it? In the first of 10 match. The Western player is Zhao Gudong. Well, it may have been. Maybe I'm mistaken something, but I'm pretty sure he's still very much from China. Which I'm not sure it would classify as the Western world. Now, Zhao Xington, after everything that he's thought about, just deciding to go for a blue, get himself 5 points on the board. And let's see if he's going to try and go for a safety shot now. So all about the safety there for him, covering the black with his reds and leaving up a couple of those to be available into the left corner. So 2 snookers needed there for Zhang Anda as he slowly makes his way onto the table. And from what could have been a 6-all draw, could have been a 7-all. In the end, it does look like it is going to be 9-6 for him to be approaching frame number 16. And he's almost looking at that scoreboard, feeling like, how did I end up in this position? Now choking his cue, and well, I mean, you have to try and put that behind you, but easier said than done. He can't really take this red because he needs it to be taken with the pink only once out of those 4 occasions, and he needs the rest of them to be taken with the black. So if he takes the red, he needs to take it either with the pink or try and make contact with the black, and he's not going to be able to do anything. So it's a wonderful long shot, but it's probably going to be one of the worst in terms of the meanings for him in this frame. 1994 UK final, Henry vs Doherty. Yeah, that was prime snooker that won it in that era. Ken Doherty, like, the fact that he only was a one-time world champion is a bit of a robbery there. Now then, Zhang Anda tries to take this blue into the left corner for him to try and still very much stay in the game here. But when I say stay in the game, not really, because he's not on the red. Which, I mean, that shot by Zhao Xington, by the way, he's able to do so much damage even when he's safety play, because you might feel like, well, he's just left him a red there. He's managed to cover up the black, which is going to be twice as painful there for Zhang, because he had to take the blue because of pink being out of position. That's cost him 2 points, and now he needs 3 snookers and not 2. He needs to try and take it with the pink again, which, I mean, leaves him at 3 snookers for now. But he's just making his life so much more difficult, and yeah, of course, he's not going to try and give up easily. But it's going to be very difficult for him to try and keep that spirit going. Although, as I say, I mean, he's putting some great balls now, but I feel like it's a bit too late for that to be the case. Especially with him running himself out of position on this red, he would seem. Unless the pink is going to go slightly underneath the line there of the cue ball. So let's try and do the maths. He is 52 points behind, so he's still 3 snookers needed. He can afford to take the last red with the pink, so it is going to do a lot of damage there to him in terms of he's going to need 1 more snooker there. But it's still not quite going to be game over for him to concede the frame and take it over to potentially the final piece of the jigsaw and very much search for it from Zhao Xington's point of view. Although the positional play that he's had on this pink has been dreadful, but this one is going to take the cake. I mean, if I was him, I know this is for the final, but I'll be really close to just trying to get this one into the yellow pocket. Unless he wants to hammer this one home. He's hammered it. Now he needs the cue ball to be underneath the black, and that's gone horribly wrong, and that's gone from bad to worse. Because maybe one thing that was keeping him in this frame was the fact that he was always going to get the snooker in behind the black, but in the end, he disturbed that cannon, and the red now is going to be alongside the black with the spine of the pink, black, blue, and the brown, so there's not going to be a way for a difficult snooker to be lined up, if any snooker to be lined up here. He may try and just get the red on the side cushion, but as I say, I mean, a schoolboy could get himself out of this situation, and he wasn't able to do that anyway. I mean, you have to say, you need to admire the fact that he's still coming back to try and fight for this one, but also you just feel like it's just delaying the inevitable there, which still has to be done. You know, we've seen it, as I say, against Zhao Xington and in favour of Zhao Xington in that frame number 13 for him to try. And I have to say, I actually feel like that was another important point, because as much as it didn't really lead to Zhao Xington winning that frame and getting himself an 8-5 of a lead, it still meant that all the momentum with that break of Zhang Anda that he was building with that 73 points and a maximum attempt, it all came down to absolutely nothing. And in the end, it allowed Zhao Xington to sort of dismantle the rhythm, take it with the next frame, take it with a century of 130 plus points with that fantastic trick shot on the black. And now we get ourselves into this position where it's 3 snookers needed there for Zhang. And he may be no snookers needed if Zhao Xington is able to get himself through to this red, because it is going to be frame over no matter how much you want to fight for it. And now Zhao could only get to the left side of it, which of course would have been the opposite side of the one where he needed to try and pot it. Disappointed with himself not to be putting the cue ball in behind the black, but ultimately it's not the one that needs to do so for him to be stealing the frame from Zhang Anda. And as he prepares to take his, well, a shot once again there, which might have actually seen Zhang Anda to lay a snooker on him quite nicely in behind the yellow. I just want to say thank you very much for everyone tuning in. Feel free to hit the like button on the stream and also subscribe to the channel. We're still approaching very much the top part of the season. The Welsh Open, the Tour Championship, the World Open, the Players Championship, and then the finale of the Crucible. And look at that for a shot. I mean, where you're going to see that in any other sport, that is an absolute thing of beauty. He's had around 4 colours there to avoid, probably 3, brown, yellow and blue. And he somehow manages to do a little zigzag of a snaky route there and still get that cue ball to hit the red pretty much full in the face. Zhao Xingtong, he's the man on fire right now. Zhang will not give up easily though, although he's probably left the red to be hit easily from the right side cushion. So yeah, he's going to try and, well, he tried to get that cue ball to be behind the blue, but I feel like, if anything, Zhao Xingtong can actually get through to this red, and therefore it is going to be frame conceded inevitably with a swerve cue ball. Yeah, that was brilliant there from Zhao Xingtong, and once again, it is now going to be what may turn out to be a deciding frame. Zhao Xingtong gets the red, and that means he's got a 46 points advantage with 27 at the table. There's no coming back from this, Zhang. And you can try and come back to the table, but you're not going to be able to find 5 snookers from here without a free ball chance. And it is Zhao Xingtong that has to go back to his seat. And maybe, you never know, the next time he exits that seat is going to be for the last time for him. Well, I mean, the last time for him to break off. You know, he's going to be the frame number 16, so he's going to be the player breaking off on the even frames. And it may well be the last time he has to do so. Certainly he'll have to wait until the frame number 18 for that to be the case again. And I say Zhang Anda is going to do pretty well to get to frame number 18. Because if he gets himself in a chance to force a decider like that, that's going to be a real heroic comeback. For now, it is still very much firm advantage and a firm hand there on the trophy from Zhao Xingtong. But he's not there yet. Remember, he can be slightly misleading when you think you're there. And in the end, it just slips away slightly from you. So, yeah, let's have a look. Maybe it is going to be another century. Maybe it is going to be another fantastic break from Zhao Xingtong. Or is it going to be, finally, a response there, which is something that we haven't seen in a while from Zhang Anda's point of view. And you have to say, once again, I did warn you about it from Zhang Anda's point of view. Zhang needed to make sure he wasn't behind in the first session. He's done that, and he's still looking to be battered in the second session because when it comes to long-term matches, the only 2 that I can think of, and I was really surprised to be seeing them, Karen Wilson in the Shanghai Masters and Wu Yize in the semi-finals, both of them, against Zhao Xingtong. He was absolutely dreadful in the second session in pretty much both of those matches. Now, when he's in form, he's been playing really well throughout the week, and he's managed to go from the 5th gear all the way to the 7th gear, very much in the end of this tournament week. It'll be a last frame, unless Zhao wants to entertain his fans. Well, no, it's not about that. Like, I get what you're trying to get at, but he's going to have a lot of respect for Zhang Anda. He's going to be all about trying to get himself over the line, and at the end of it, if he does it now, brilliant. If he has to take it to frame number 17, then he needs to make sure he finds an 8th gear if he needs to. And yeah, it's business as usual now. Try and get yourself this frame 1. But, I mean, I say business as usual. Make sure you utilize this chance now, because Zhang Anda is going to be such on a down point right now. He's going to be fuming with the way this match has turned around on him. And also, he's going to be slightly, well, feeling slightly undone with the way that, you know, some of those flukes have gone in the way of Zhao Xingtong, but also for the pure opposition that he had to be up against. Certainly has been by far the hardest final that he's been involved with. Once again, the break-off shot doesn't seem like it's perfect there from Zhao Xingtong. Maybe something that Zhang Anda needs, though. A red available into the left middle. He's potted one of them. He's missed one of them. And he's going to have maybe one last break-off of Zhao Xingtong to try and savour. He seems to be very much the part of the game which just keeps feeding him chances there. Same age or Zhao younger, 28. I'm not sure he's 28. I'm going to have a very quick check to see Zhang Anda, his age. Let's have a look. Zhang Anda is going to be 34 years of age. So that was pretty quick. He was born in December the 25th, 1991. So, yeah, he's got a bit of a distance, though, in between himself. So 6 years advantage, and as I say, Zhao has missed 2 years of his career through that ban, and well, it feels like it is getting desperate times there for Zhang Anda. He's taking that red into the left corner, he's missed it, and despite getting quite a nice position on the black, of course it's no use to you if you miss the red, and so it's from Western China. Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not still Western part of the world, is it? Because the question clearly was Western part of the world, and yeah, as much as you are going to be Western part of China, it's not like it's gone all over the globe, so you know, eastern place of China is going to be in the east, and then the west is going to be very much at the west of the entire globe there. Right, Zhao Xingtong, can he get through to this red into the middle? Yes, he can, and yes, he will pot it. If there was a question for it, I feel like the first one was relevant, the second one wasn't. The way that he was showing his form in the previous couple of frames, he was always going to make the red into the middle pocket, and it's now 7 points that he's got trying to hold on to, but as I say, I feel like it is 10-6, so it's a respective scoreline if he's to score 70 or so more points, but I feel like from the pure total points value, it is going to be an absolute annihilation there from Zhao's point of view. And yeah, Zhang is going to have to try and go back to the missed chances there if this is to be the end. It's nothing to be dependent on him now. He may have played his last shot, especially with the way that this match has gone previously. Although, remember the thing though, even though you have got Zhao Xingtong classified, from my point of view, as someone that doesn't face pressure, there is always going to be a bit of a problem for you to try and get over the line, so that when you have got that problem, you need to be there when it happens. So that's going to be relevant to Zhang Anda there, but whether that is going to be something that actually happens, or it's going to be the myth that I'm trying to stick to, well, it remains to be seen. That's ChatGPT. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it, like, if you ask ChatGPT, he'll probably give you a really boring answer. Zhao Xingtong will be here to entertain you, and he'll certainly try to do his best and win this frame 10-6 there with the overall score of the match. And once again, it'll be so nice for him to be losing that semi-final to Wu Yize 9-6, then 10-5 to Karen Wilson in the Shanghai Masters, losing out to Judd Trump as well in the semi-final of the Champion of Champions. And if he is to make it all the way and be the winner here of his home event, when he needed to step up his game to being involved in the Players' Championship, he may just about be finding his best form, although we might have to wait for that to be the case. As he landed on the red, he needs to wait for the confirmation from himself, and I'm not sure he's got it, you know. This red available into the left corner is going to be there to be taken, but the cubo is super close to it, so he decides to go for the red onto the right corner instead, trying to force the cubo into the side cushion. Has he got the red? Yes, he does. Now, has he got the position on the blue? Yes, he has got the position on the blue. Brilliant stuff once again there. If there was any doubt, Zhao Xingtong just seems to be blowing those away. And there's a point there to be made, to be fair, that even if Zhang Anda was brilliant in every single aspect of all of his play, it still would have been a really difficult match for him to be the winner of, because of the way that Zhao Xingtong has turned up and he's surely come out here to play. Wonder how far up the rankings Zhao will be. Kind of falling off of it. Yeah, he was the world number 6 when he finished their 22 season. Yeah, felt like that red slightly faded away there, not in favour of Zhao Xingtong, so could have been a bit of a unfortunate mistake there for him. But in the end, it just about dropped in off the jaw, and he's still going to be on the black to try and continue the break. And once again, it makes it look ever so easy. It was a difficult black with him having to put his foot on the table, having to reach for it as well. Didn't need the extension, wasn't even thinking about taking the rest, and took the black beautifully into the pocket while still getting the perfect contact and the position on the reds. Full length out of the authorities. Time for Zhao to win a tournament after his World Championship win. Yes, it does look like it, because right now he's only around 30 points in between himself and another crown. And yeah, Zhang Anda, you have to say, he certainly managed to play his part, but in the end, he was up against the machine, and this is form. I'm going to say it's an unpopular opinion, but this form is more dangerous than Zhao Xingtong of last year. He's more experienced, and he seems to be a lot more clinical. Purely talking about the final, I have not seen a match like this from Zhao. He was making mistakes against Ronnie. He was making mistakes against Williams. Not so much against Wakely in the quarterfinals, but haven't seen a significant mistake pretty much at any point of this match. the one that was gonna like, oh, that's gonna cost you 2 or 3 frames or something. Like, they're always gonna be misses. Like, you can't have 16 frames which are gonna be perfect. But this form is gonna be super dangerous. And if Zhao continues to play like this, oh boy, I mean, it's gonna take some stopping for him not to be the world champion this season again. Right then, it could be the frame ball and the match ball at the same time. This red for the match and for the title. Championship points, Zhao Xington taken. It is a break of 70 points. And he has taken it very much on a whole new level. Can he try and make it the 5th century of the final? All of them to come from the same player. And finish off with a perfect chapter to this fairy tale of his own. He's got the 5 reds to try and make his way through. And all down to just, well, he's going to need around 6 shots there. 3 reds, 3 blacks. Seems to be taking this one proper seriously. Trying to find an extension on his queue. Because he knows it's all over there. Zhang hasn't done anything right or anything wrong in the last 2 or 3 frames. But you still feel like the scoreline could have been closer had he been super clinical with every chances that he had. Especially in the second session. He has been blown away by Zhao Xington with his form. Now taking this red into the left middle. Getting the black to be set up into the left corner pocket right now. So a bit of backspin once again. Trying to hold the cue ball for one of those reds into the middle to be taken. Congratulations, Zhao. Yes, I mean, what a campaign, what a performance, and what a title. Once again, a new ranking event winner. And once again, we're going to be down to only the last couple of the players in the top 10 that haven't won a ranking event this season. It is going to be John Higgins, and it is going to be Karen Wilson, as far as I'm aware, despite winning the Shanghai Masters and the Masters of the Triple Crown as well. He's still yet to find that ranking event. And let's see if it is going to be in a couple of weeks to come. But, oh, I am looking forward to seeing more of this form of Zhao Xington. It is a break of 101 points there that he makes. And it is the 5th century to finish with a perfect break there. And he could still go on and make 144 points. This will be some landmark. And this is going to be catch me if you can, anyone. And if you are going to play like this, make sure you're putting the practice time on the table. Because it is not going to be as easy for you as I made it look for myself. Brilliant stuff there from Zhao Xington. And he's still looking on to make this 144 of break. 110 points now. 7 colours in between himself and making the 2 highest break of the tournament by a single player. It probably has been done before. But, well, Ronnie O'Sullivan in the Saudi Masters. But he had to share the highest break at that point. And it looks like Zhao Xington is going to have to share the 2nd place. But he's still going to have his face very much on the 1st place. And he has been the man to catch. I said Xiao Guodong was the better player overall coming into that semi-final. But ever since that second mini-session of the semi-final appearance against Xiao Guodong, it has been Zhao Xington's title to lose. And boy, did he play well. This has been an absolute beauty of a campaign. And I know I probably ran out of superlatives to try and describe him. But he deserves all of that. You know, you give him slack when he deserves to, when he's not playing well, when he's not concentrating. And he probably hasn't concentrated on that pink, but he still had an emphatic win. A 1-3-1 of a break to finish it off. And it is going to be the chapter to be written. And there's going to be a very warm congratulations there from Zhang Anda. Of course he's going to be disappointed, but he knows, as much as we all do, that it was Zhao Xington with a brilliant performance and applause from the crowd. And I better join in because that was a final that from the pure quality of one player has to be the best performance that I've seen from a player this season. And this man is going to be a real threat and a real deal coming into the last 3 or 4 titles of this season. And yeah, I feel like it is going to be a bit of a different story at the Welsh Open because of the format. But when it comes to the first of 6 and first of 10 frames, this guy is uncatchable. Still maintains his record of 4 out of 4 in the ranking event finals. And certainly to do that against someone like Zhang Anda, I mean, that is incredible. German Masters in 2022, UK Championship in 2021, World Championship in 2025, and the World Grand Prix in 2026. All of them came in different years. A couple were in the same season. Now, can he break that curse and make 2 of them to have the 2026 on the end of it? Commiserations to Zhang Anda, it has to be said. Once again, another ranking title that unfortunately comes and goes for him. He was really supportive of the way that his family and friends have helped him to try and reach this point, but he'll certainly be back for a couple more of those occasions. He certainly has also been the highlight of his season. But if you talk about the overall match, first of all, I want to say thank you very much for everyone that has tuned in. It's been an absolute pleasure to cover. And feel free to hit the like on the screen for one last time, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back with the Tour Championship, the Players Championship, the World Open, the Welsh Open, and the icing on the cake, as I mentioned, the World Championship is going to be not too far away from us. It's still a couple of months away, but we are going to have a couple of tournaments to spare in the meantime. And yeah, so very quickly on the overview, we're going to just do the first and the second session one by one. First session, really close. I don't feel like I can comment too much on it, and I felt like Zhang was really consistent, and I actually felt like Zhao was playing probably not his best snooker of all time. You know, trying to, well, maybe just letting a couple of those shots to slip away from him. In the end, could have done better, but also, you know, he was coming into the second session with it being 4-all, so you still have to be pretty happy with that one. And yeah, in the end, it was pretty much square one, the first to six match, and then it feels like the damage was done in the opening too. The fact that Zhao was able to just turn up to the session, go out there with a bang, and yeah, he was unstoppable from that point. 6-4 at advantage. Zhang got an 11 frame win, which was tough for him, but it was very important. Needed to win that 12 frame though, and 5-7, you feel like that was probably one step too far for him to catch. And in the end, he got it to 6-7, but from that point onwards, it was Zhao with incredible form, making 5 centuries overall in this final, and getting that frames one count over to 10. This is going to be the campaign to remember, this is going to be the tournament to remember, and hopefully it's only going to get better from this point onwards. One last time, thank you very much for everyone tuned in. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. We will be back with you with the Players Championship in the middle of February. Stay tuned in and make sure you don't miss the action of snooker. This has been treated to an absolute pleasure, and thank you everyone for being here with me. Speak to you soon and see you later. Enjoy the final and enjoy its overview, because it certainly has delivered to all the expectations. Thank you again and see you later.
Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you